and 3-6 Baylor, who has to win out for bowl eligibility. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Barrett Brooks' homecoming. Noah Reed and Tori Petrie just lucky to be invited. Hey, Kansas State no longer controls its own destiny for a Big 12 championship, but still very much in contention for it.
Absolutely. You know, not the captain of the fate, but what you know about the Big 12 is the war of attrition. These teams will knock off each other, and Coach Kleiman has built a culture here that, hey, they came back against Texas, but it was a devastating loss, but they do have the culture to get them back in this game.
I need a little bit of help, but in this league, as wild as it's been, always possible. And for the first time today, we get to introduce you to the third member of our crew, Tori Petrie, who is with Kansas State head coach Chris Kleiman.
Thanks, Noah. Coach, you told us this Baylor team is better than their record shows. What does your team need to be aware of today?
Well, we've got to start fast, and we've got to play physical. We know we're going to get Baylor's best shot. Everybody in the Big 12 gives everybody's best shot. We've got a great crowd. Let's see if we can respond.
What's the key for your team?
Hang on to the football and stay on the field and then get off the field on defense.
Thanks so much, Coach.
Appreciate it. Thanks.
Appreciate it, Tori. Thank you to Coach Chris Kleiman as well. Man, what an atmosphere Manhattan, Kansas is on game day, Barrett.
I'll tell you what, when I played here, it was 29,000, 50,000 screaming Wildcat fans here. Baylor's going to have their work cut out for it, but I tell you, Coach Aranda, he's got some guys out there that are hungry. A young team, and I think they're ready to fight right now.
21st all-time meeting between these two. We are tied 10-10 all-time. And interestingly enough, Baylor has won the last two when they've come into this building.
Well, they're just recently, probably 2 or 3 years out of winning the Big 12. They know how to win in Baylor. They've got to get back on track, and it's going to come with fundamental football. They're so young, they're just learning how to get things in perspective as far as how to win a game. Kansas State already has their culture built, and Coach Kleiman is going to make sure these guys go out and focus on the little things to win this game.
Manhattan, Kansas is jumping for some Big 12 football. Their Kansas State Wildcats are in a Big 12 title race. Baylor has to win out for bowl eligibility, and off we go from Manhattan. This is Trayshawn Ward from the 6 on the return. And he got nowhere, plastered near the 18-yard line, and that's where Kansas State starts their drive.
Yeah, you look at Baylor, they understand it's the little things like that, not allowing them to get to the 25, that gives them a little stick, a little bit of an uprising, because they want to stay competitive in this game. They want to go out and win this game, and it's going to be a must that they match hypeness for hypeness while on the field.
Our first look at Will Howard, the senior quarterback who, despite the loss last week against Texas, Barrett threw for a career-high 327 yards. Opening play of the game, fake the handoff and a quick screen out to Phillip Brooks, who has some space on the edge before he got planted out near the 25 by Caden Jenkins.
Well, that's what you do to get things going for your experienced quarterback. A little easy pass, get it out there, get it to your athlete. Phillip Brooks is one of the faster guys on the team, a very good athlete. Let him go out there and work. Now they're 2nd and 4 instead of 2nd and 10.
And Will Howard's favorite target, too, in Phillip Brooks. Quick slant, Jace Brown dropped it, brings up 3rd down.
You know, that's a slant play. He should have been caught, but we're talking about a freshman, a natural freshman. And they're looking up to him to have a great career here in Manhattan. Very athletic, speedy, caught a great touchdown last week against Texas.
This is the best 3rd down offense in the Big 12, 6th best in all of college football, converting nearly 51% of their 3rd downs. A very manageable 3rd and 3 to get on the opening drive. Baylor's defense looking for a 3 and out to start the day. Howard with a clean pocket. It's again Brooks ducking underneath a tackler down to the 34. Picks up 8 yards and gets the 1st down.
Goes to Mr. Consistency. Look at there, bunch to the left. He looks out, sees him, up to the right, delivers a great ball to him. Not lead him till he gets hit.
First carry for DJ Giddens, has some space, lowers the shoulder, breaks loose, spins off another down to the 43. Give him 9 yards on 1st down.
You know, he's their big back. He's explosive. When he gets there, he's not shying away from contact. He wants to run through you as opposed to run around you. This is what this offense dictates. Running the ball consistently to open up the pass.
They run for more than 200 yards a game, and keep in mind it's a run game that lost Deuce Vaughn to the NFL. Second and short. Giddens one more time, picks up the first down before he's twisted down at the 45 for 3 yards. Brooks Miller, who's their lead linebacker for Baylor, makes the stop.
Now, Baylor's strength on defense are the guys up front. And in order for them to be competitive in this game, they have to go out and reestablish another line of scrimmage by getting up the field. I tell you what, penetration kills run plays, and right now Kansas State is stopping that penetration.
First down, another quick screen to the outside. This is Jaden Jackson's first catch. Stiff arms a defender, and he slants out of bounds for a first down. Shoved out by Matt Jones after 12 yards.
He is another gifted wide receiver that Kansas State has. And they're running a hurry-up right now just so they can keep that defense on the field.
Jackson only played 1 snap against Texas last week, aggravated an injury. He was out of the game. Giddens gets a shove from that experienced offensive line all the way down to the 33 for 9 yards.
Yeah, you know what? Run behind a big fella. Cooper Beebe. Just get in behind him, let him lead the way, and you just run in behind a big fella. Giddens can have a great game if he continues to keep his pass going forward and an offensive line pushing those guys of Baylor around.
What a luxury for any running back for Kansas State to get to run behind this offensive line. 5 seniors, all of which have started at least 2 years. Fake the end around. There's some pressure facing Howard, and he just heaves it out of bounds as he sensed the pressure from Reed.
You know, and that, you would think that was a bad pass, an overthrow, but he just wanted to get out of his hands. He didn't want to have the sack, turn the tempo around. Right now they're at 3rd and 1, 3rd and manageable, and that's how he's going to stay on target. By doing simple things like that, by throwing it away as opposed to taking a sack or creating a turnover, we're trying to force the ball to the receiver.
Look at that difference between the D-line for Baylor and the O-line for Kansas State. About 40 pounds, the difference. Fake the handoff. Brooks' 3rd catch of this drive down to the 25 and a new set of downs.
I love Colin Klein and how he's calling this game. He's giving the quarterback simple stuff. Like this is just a slant play outside, RPO, get it to your guy, your favorite target, who happens to be a pretty good athlete, and allow him to work in the middle of that field with the slant.
He goes to him a lot in the red zone too, does Howard. So you're already got 3 completions to Phillip Brooks, and this is typically where he goes to him most. Giddens escapes 1, but he gets tackled after a couple yards by TJ Franklin, who Baylor talked about. They need a huge game from him up front to be able to stop this Kansas State run game.
They have to, and he's like the leader of this, not just the defense, but a leader on the team. If he can go out there and beat his one-on-one blocks, because right now Baylor is 2-gapping. They're not 1-gap. 1-gap gives you the ability to get up in 1-gap and get up the field. They're 2-gapping, so they're holding 2. He's got to be able to win that one-on-one block with the offensive tackle.
11th play of the drive. It's a toss to Giddens. Follows a block, and he got tackled from behind at the 18 by Caden Jenkins.
Well, you know, they're trying to get out in space. Blocking down, we used to call it stretch play. You block down the tackle, pull the guard around, and that time Panzier got up into the line, hit the linebacker. You just try to let your back run in behind him and pick a spot.
Gets in the red zone, converting nearly 80% of the time into 6 points. 3rd and short. Howard swings it out. He's got Giddens. He's got the sideline. Touchdown, Kansas State.
Beat him on the wheel route. I love the wheel route on this play. Will Howard sees the play develop, sees that the linebacker that's supposed to cover him gets caught up in the mesh and everything in the middle, and not able to get on the outside and watch. Giddens just runs out there on that wheel route for pay dirt. Touchdown. Easy play. Understanding who's ever covering him will get caught up in the mesh inside.
Chris Tennett's point after is straight down the middle, and what an opening drive for Kansas State. 12 plays, 81 yards, 4.5 minutes off the clock, and the Wildcats strike immediately at home. 7-0. Howard completing passes on the drive, an easy touchdown. Earlier today before kick, that's Michael Bishop getting honored here as a Hall of Famer at Kansas State. And who's that on the far left there, Barrett?
Mr. Snyder, my guy. Coach Snyder is a great guy. Saved my life. We'll talk about that later.
Here's a return from the 2-yard line. It's Richard Reese who stretches outside, and he's across the 25 for Baylor to start their opening drive of the day.
Well, hey, talking about Richard Reese, he needs to be instrumental in this offense and how they get things started for this Bears offense. They've got to run the ball consistently to open up the pass. Yes, Blake Shapen's a good quarterback, but he needs to run to help them open things up a little bit, keeping that Kansas State defense honest, and it's imperative that Reese has a good day.
Blake Shapen has a weird split, as the team does as a whole. Actually better on the road than at home this season.
Yeah, it's kind of funny. You know, they win on the road, but home, you know, it's not as much.
Handoff on the first play of the day. Broken tackle outside the 40 by Dominic Richardson. Good start for 15 yards.
Great start. And when I look at this, what they blitz from the outside and they get caught and run up underneath the blitz, the tight end was able to stop the defensive end from pushing it down, and that was his gap. So he just ran through his gap for the huge run against this Kansas State defense.
Richardson, a transfer from Oklahoma State, where he spent 3 years, ran for over 1,000 yards for the Cowboys, now with Baylor. Shapen has a lot of time, delivers over the middle, caught across the 40 and down to the 37 by Drake Dabney, the tight end, for 19 yards.
Yeah, we talked about the tight ends being instrumental in this offense. These guys can line up everywhere, and they're athletic, and they're able to go out there and play in a slot just like wide receivers. There, Shapen finds his tight end running. The defense didn't get a chance to get any pressure on Shapen, and he makes them pay for it.
They go 5 deep, tight ends.
Very good tight ends also.
Fake to Pendergrass, slant throw over the middle, and it's caught by Josh Cameron, who immediately slides down to 32 for 7 yards.
And he's one of their speed guys. You know, they like to get him off kickoff return, punt return, because he's dynamic. Look, he goes up, makes himself available to the quarterback, a little stop route. Shapen sees him, gets it to him. He can be a guy that can open things up. He can take the top off the speed that he has.
Dave Aranda's team at 3-6 has to win out for bowl eligibility, and they do not have an easy road ahead. Play action. Shapen to the sideline, reeled in by Dabney for his second catch of the drive inside the 15. Give him 19 yards and another first down.
Your tight end's a quarterback's best friend, and when you're watching this replay, Dabney always runs routes in which he makes himself available to Shapen on the play. He runs a little corner route on there. When he runs the corner route, he's able to get open, run past the zone that K-State is trying to run for a great gain on the play.
Baylor sometimes struggles in the red zone. Only 9 touchdowns in their 27 trips to the red zone this year. Shapen drops it off. Here's the true freshman, Dawson Pendergrass, weaving through traffic, and he's in.
I love the freshman. The freshman running back, Dawson Pendergrass. Talking about a guy that gets behind his pads. They turn around, a little quick screen for him, gets out, got the offensive line in front of him, and they just lead him to pay dirt. He's one of those guys that I'm not going to do anything but one-step cut, get downfield, get positive yardage, and right down he got to the end zone on that play. Great play design, great call by Coach Grimes, the offensive coordinator.
Isaiah Hankins ties this game up with the extra point. Both offenses looking flawless early. Kansas State starts with a touchdown. Baylor responds back on the road with the freshman Dawson Pendergrass. From ear to ear here in Manhattan, because not too far down the road, Barrett, 16th ranked Kansas goes down at home to Texas Tech, and just when you think the Big 12 can't get any weirder than it's been this year, it continues to get weirder.
As we stated earlier in the broadcast, it's the war of attrition in the Big 12. There's so much parity right now that all these teams are equal in the aspect that they know each other so well. I mean, the newer teams are having some trouble, but the older teams, they know each other so well that when they do play them, it's always a great game.
7 teams all within a game of first place entering the day. That's now 6 because Kansas goes down. Trayshawn Ward from the 5 on the return. Sees a little bit of a seam, bursts right through it, escapes a tackle, and finally dragged down at the 45. An electric return from Trayshawn Ward of 38 yards.
Trayshawn Ward says, look, I can't get on the offensive side of the ball. Let me do it in special teams. Follows his blockers. It was a a middle return, great blocking up front, and then he does the rest, breaking tackles. He was a tackle away from taking it to the house.
Yeah, just kind of going back to that point, look at all these teams that were 5-1 or 4-2 to start the day. Kansas drops down there, but in the final 3 weeks, it seems like everybody's in contention for a Big 12 title.
Absolutely, and I love the fact that, every single week there's either a big-time team going down or, a team that shouldn't be there is where they need to be competitive in this division.
Texas and Oklahoma State in the driver's seat for the Big 12 title game. Here's Howard with time, sprays it out to the sideline. That's pulled in by Keegan Johnson, and he's wrestled out of bounds at the 45 for 12 yards and a first down.
Keegan Johnson's a guy they want to get the ball to more. He's explosive. He's a speedy guy. Gets out gets up the field very quick. Had a great game against Texas last week.
7 catches, 70 yards, and a touchdown. And the offensive coordinator, Colin Klein, told us it was great to see him have the production we think he can have every week. Giddens with a touch, bouncing outside, and Matt Jones runs right into him for just 3 yards.
Jones is one of those guys that he can be a difference maker on that defense. They want him to be a more vocal leader. He's not really that type of guy, but they're trying to force him to. But he says, I'll let my pads do the talking more so than anything. And they look to him to be that spark plug for this defense.
He's an honorable mention all Big 12 guy last year, and he's had even a better year this year than he did last season. 2nd and long, Howard facing some heat, gets rid of it, heaves it up, and that was dangerous. It was in the vicinity of DJ Giddens. Incomplete.
And that's one of the things you can't do. Howard, he can't drop back. Just get rid of it. I mean, if anything, throw down to the wide receiver's feet, because on that play, they're going to try to blitz you. They're going to make sure they make it uncomfortable in the pocket, and that could have easily been a pick going the other way.
5 wide receivers set here on 3rd and long. Howard surveying, airs it out downfield, incomplete, but a flag flies in. Caden Jenkins had the coverage on Jace Brown, and the flag is thrown on a pass interference.
Yeah, on that play, you watch the rookie, the freshman, gets past him a little bit. He tries to yank him to pull him back.
Pass interference, defense, number 19, 15-yard penalty enforced from the previous spot, automatic first down.
That's just frustrating if you're the Baylor defense right now, Barrett, because you're 1 play away from getting off the field, getting the ball back in a game that your offense has already scored, but instead, pass interference, new set of downs.
It just shows it's an explosive team of wide receivers that they have. And this is the freshman of the bunch. Jay Brown is one of the faster guys on this team, but he's a young guy learning the game.
And Trayshawn Ward's in the backfield for the first time. He's the one that had the 38-yard kickoff return to set up Kansas State with his great field position. They give it to him. Oh, he got planted immediately. Gabe Hall up the middle.
That'll wake you up. That'll wake you up. And that's what we were talking about. Penetration kills all run plays, and that defense was able to get up the field, get some penetration, and right there stop Ward from even getting started. That's how you stop running backs. Make them stop their feet, but that's even better when you hit them right in the mouth when you're doing it.
6'6", 292 running into you. That doesn't feel good. Howard completes the pass near the 20. Jace Brown is hit immediately. We've got a 3rd and 3 coming up after 6 yards.
Now it's a simple little stop route. Turn around, make yourself available for the quarterback. And 9 times out of 10, Will Howard will find you if you're open. You give him a little time. Baylor has been sending the blitz from not just from the outside, but also inside, which is forcing his reads a little bit. That time he was able to read the defense and get it to the receiver.
Ward stretching outside, got an open hole, and he's yanked down at the 14. It's a first down.
That's what we talk about. Block down, and pull around. That should just follow. Get your offensive line, getting out there in space. Right then, they had the tackle, the frontside tackle and guard, and center pulling around to make a play. Get on their blocks on the 2nd level.
8 straight red zone trips have ended in a touchdown for Kansas State. They're looking to make it 9 for 9. Play action. Howard seeing some pressure, escapes out to the right, throws it out of play.
That's what you have to do when you're a defender. And once again, you look at TJ Franklin creating the matchup problem with beating the tackle, then getting up the field with penetration. Howard, got stuck back there. Nobody was open, but he kept his head about him, kept his eyes focused down the field, but it was just great coverage on the backside by this Baylor defense. But then you got to go with your guy, T.J. Franklin, to go make a play and rush the pass of Howard.
2nd and 10. Here's Howard stepping up in the pocket. Now flush to the right. Back of the end zone. Caught for a touchdown. Ben Sinnott, the fullback.
Fullback, tight end, I don't know what you want to call him. They have got great chemistry together. Great chemistry. On this play, they leave everybody in on the play, and then we turn around, Howard Sinnott turns around, and who breaks open? He has great awareness. Sinnott has great awareness on where the DBs are, stops in the middle of that zone, makes himself available. Howard hits him for the touchdown.
Ben Sinnott just accepted a Senior Bowl invite yesterday. He's got a touchdown in the first quarter to put Kansas State back on top. 14-7. Kansas State responds after the Baylor touchdown with one of their own. Both offenses are alive here in the first quarter in Manhattan. 14 yards from Will Howard to Ben Sinnott puts Kansas State back on top with just under 5 to play in the first quarter. 4th touchdown catch of the year for Ben Sinnott. The fullback / tight end / wherever you want to line me up, I can do it.
I love his awareness on the field.
Here's Richard Reese from the goal line, and he got upended shy of the 20. Will Howard and Ben Sinnott really close both on and off the field, Tori.
Yeah, they clearly have a whole lot of chemistry. I talked to Will Howard this week, and I said, who on the team do you feel like you're closest with? He said, if it's anybody, it's probably Ben Sinnott. And he brought up those post-game comments that Ben Sinnott made after last week's game in support of him. Remember, he said he was sick and tired of people doubting Will Howard. Well, that meant a whole lot to Will. He brought that up with me. He said, I could not be more grateful for the way that guy stuck up for me.
I love that, Tori. That's really cool. And if you haven't seen that yet, I urge you to go look that up because it was post-game after the loss to Texas, and Ben Sinnott really defended Will Howard with some fiery comments. Dominic Richardson plows forward for just 2 yards to the 20. Isn't that exactly what you want in a teammate too? Guys that defend each other, guys that stick up for each other.
Oh, absolutely. Especially the cohesiveness those two have, and they show when they're on the field. It's like their osmosis is there because he knows exactly where he's going to be and when he's going to be there. Knows he's going to be open. He delivers the ball to him.
Empty backfield for Blake Shapen on a 2nd and long. Hit as he throws. Ball's loose. Recovered by Kansas State. A scoop and score for the Wildcats. Desmond Purnell.
That's defensive coordinator Joe Klinderman. What he does, he sends the X-blitz from the linebackers up front, which opens up the defensive end on that play. And Stuff Shufflebean delivers a hit in the back, forcing the fumble, and that's what you have. Just great timing by the defensive call on this defensive play.
Stufflebean the hit, Purnell the scoop and score, and it's the 130th non-offensive touchdown over the last 24 seasons for Kansas State, the most in the nation.
We talked to, the defensive coordinator, Coach Klinderman, and he says, I don't know what it comes from on how we are getting all these turnovers, but he's glad to have them. He said, sometimes, you would think that, it's more than just fate. It's the work you've put in, but that's definitely a great play call by the defensive coordinator, and then turn around, executing it, and it opens up for a scoop and score, defensive scoop and score. This is great play calling and great execution by this defense.
10th turnover in the last 4 games forced by Kansas State. And how about that? Since 1999, 130 touchdowns coming from not the offense. When you're getting that many scores from your defense, from your special teams, that's going to set you up in great positions.
Last week we saw the same thing happen in the second half against that Texas team. Offensively they were trying to get things going, but defensively is where they picked it up. getting those interceptions, getting those turnovers allowed them to get back into the game, give them the confidence they need to go and try to at least beat a Texas on the last play of the game.
Richard Reese lets it bounce into the end zone for a touchback. You're in a spot now, if you're Baylor, Barrett, where your first offensive drive of the game, you drive down, you tie this game up 7-7, you kind of silence this Manhattan crowd a little bit, but since then, a touchdown drive for Kansas State, a scoop and score, and all of a sudden you're down 2 touchdowns.
And this is where you're going to see where your team is. And Coach Aranda really needs to see what direction the focus will be for this team. This could be a sense where, all right, here we go again. Or are they going to turn around and say, let's go, let's get it going, we're good enough to be out here?
There have been some challenges this year for Dave Aranda's team. Lost the season opener to Texas State. Blake Shapen, the quarterback, was injured. Almost knocked off Utah, but the Utes scored 2 touchdowns in the last 2 minutes to come back and win that game. It's just 3 yards from Dominic Richardson on the first play.
And this is what I like to see. They're not going to abandon the run. They're still going to run. Dominic Richardson has breakout speed. They're running inside zone, and eventually somebody's going to get cut off on that defensive line, and they're going to break another long one. It's just consistently doing it, playing a play out, and trusting it.
Fake to Pendergrass, sprays it out to the outside, and it's broken up. Marquise Siegel with the deflection to bring up 3rd and long.
Yeah, you look at it, he playing up almost like a corner on the play, man-to-man, and makes a great play undercutting the pass of Shapen on the play. And that's their go-to guy they're trying to go to. Marquise Monterey Baldwin is their big play guy.
Yeah, team's leading receiver has not had a catch yet today. Loudest we've heard it today here in Manhattan. Crowd coming to life on a 3rd and long for Baylor. Shapen sprinting out to the right, exits the pocket, throws on the run, it's incomplete. 4th down.
Great pressure up front, individuals, winning up front, and that's where you get it. This is just, all right, I want to be great. I'm going to beat the one-on-one block, gets around, trying to make the play. Shapen's running for his life, trying to get open to Baldwin trying to get open on the play.
Palmer Williams boots it away. Phillip Brooks is back to receive the punt at the 28. Reverses field, and he ran backwards. 44-yard punt, and he lost about 5 yards on the return.
Yeah, trying to be dynamic on the play. Sometimes, you can get around it, but we're talking about a Baylor team that's pretty quick, pretty fast. And right then, he couldn't get away to try to make a big play on it.
What a day for Will Howard already in the first 2 drives. 8 of 12, 2 touchdowns, and he's completed a pass to 6 different receivers.
And what I'm seeing the most out of Noah is his ability to have that pocket presence, to be able to step up in the pocket, read where the pressure's coming from, and also throwing the ball away. He almost had one mistake, but he's getting the ball away and not taking sacks.
Already up 2 touchdowns after the defense gave him a scoop and score not too long ago. And DJ Giddens searches for just 3 yards.
3 yards is not always a bad play. 3 yards in cloud dust. I was playing with the Steelers, and we made a business out there, giving the ball to Bussy. 3 yards here, 3 yards here, and then you turn around. Now you're 3rd and manageable. And sometimes not always bad.
Howard with a clean pocket, zips it to the sideline. That's pulled in by Ben Sinnott, who has a touchdown today, and he's tackled by the ankles just shy of the 45 for 19 yards.
I'll tell you what, talking to Colin Klein, the offensive coordinator yesterday, I love running plays like this, because you want to get it to your playmaker, and we talk about Sinnott being a guy that is a tight end fullback. He does it all well. He's out there in the slot playing receiver.
This guy does a lot well in the backfield, too. DJ Giddens lowers the shoulder and pummels his way across the 45 for 12 yards and another 1st down.
They're just systematically running this offense. I love what they call it here. Coach Klein calls it power spread, meaning we can run in between the tackles and get the ball out on the pass.
Spits it out on a screen caught by R.J. Garcia. And he He got yanked down to 41.
They love these bunch plays out here where you can get the screen out, throw it out to a receiver, and you got some pretty good playmakers out there. You get two receivers out there blocking, one receiver gets the ball, speed screens. It's almost like an elongated handout, but you get it out to the receiver on the outside.
Just an extension of the run game, right?
Absolutely, absolutely. Get it out of space.
Giddens gets back-to-back. Open seam. DJ Giddens right through the crease and tackled from behind at the 10. Devin Bobby chases him down after a gain of 34.
Watch Gillum on this play. This is the center getting out there and blocking on the outside on a safety. The big fella, the center, getting out there to play.
Why not keep in the hands of Giddens, but this time he's got nowhere. Swarmed by the Baylor defensive line for a yard.
We need to see that play one more time because I want you to see how Hayden Gillum is able to snap the ball and get out there and pull out on the widest guy who happens to be a safety, gets a block on him, which opened it up for DJ Giddens on the play. Great play call, and I love the way they executed it.
8 yards a touch so far for DJ Giddens, who we're not even through the first quarter, and he's approaching his third 100-yard game of the season. Second down, Howard keeps it, follows a block in front of him, and the quarterback lunges down to the 1. Let's take a look back, Barrett, what you were just talking about.
Now you block the front side, man-to-man, get out there, and then you get your center out to block a safety on the play. Get him out there and opens up wide for Gillum to go out there and Giddens to go out there and have a great run. This is what I'm talking about. This is college football at its best. Getting your big fellas out there, getting your big, maulers out there in the offensive line, being able to run and make plays at the second level.
That's the end of the first quarter. Timeout.
The 50,000 here in Manhattan loving the first quarter. Kansas State up 21-7. The defense getting involved on a scoop and score. And Kansas State is rolling, heading to quarter number 2. Perfect first quarter for Kansas State, up 21-7 at the start of the second. Barrett just 1 yard away from making this a 3-touchdown lead. 2 tight ends in there. Hand off to Trayshawn Ward. He might be a little short. Just inside the 1, they didn't get the touchdown.
Great play by the defense of Baylor. The guys up front, 2-gapping, not being pushed back on the play. In fact, they reestablished the offensive line in a line of scrimmage so they couldn't get up in there, created penetration on the play.
Officials timeout for an injured defensive player.
Jarrell Boykins is down for Baylor after that last play. Interesting spot, too. 4th down. You got to think inside the 1, the offense is staying on the field, but certainly is a decision for Chris Kleiman here.
Definitely a decision, because, at this point, you can kind of put it in by keeping a run. But, we talk about what happened last week against Texas and not going for the points, the guaranteed 3 points to extend the game. But now, we're not at that point. But that's a decision you make. Do you let your big guys up front, your senior offensive line, move the line of scrimmage and dictate tempo? It's a lot of guys, a lot of legs being rolled up out there. Offensive line pressing guys back, and sometimes you get rolled up on. That's the scariest thing when you're a trench player. Offense and defense, guys get rolled up, rolled in the back of your legs. Sometimes it's just, the nature of playing a gladiator sport, that you're going to get crossed up, you're going to get falling on a lot during those plays.
4th and goal from inside the 1. Howard under center. He gets a push from behind, and it's a Kansas State touchdown.
The brotherly shove. Tush push, what they call it in Philly.
There are a lot of flags that fly in well after the play on the celebration.
After the play, unsportsmanlike conduct, defense number 9. That 15-yard penalty will be enforced on the succeeding kickoff. That's number 9's first unsportsmanlike conduct.
That goes against TJ Franklin.
He's their emotional leader on this defense. On the team, period. They look for him a lot of guidance as far as how to play this game. He knows he has to play better in order for them to win.
Chris Tennant hit the upright, and then it bounced through. Not pretty, but it works. 21 unanswered for Kansas State this time. Will Howard, the quarterback, keeps it. All Wildcats early. 21 unanswered for Kansas State, and Baylor is searching for answers right now. Barrett down 28-7 early in the second quarter.
And this is where you got to see where your team's mentality is.
Yeah.
Coach Aranda has to make sure they stay focused, stay ready to play. It's imperative that they come back and do something before halftime.
Both teams coming off heartbreaking losses last week. Baylor against Houston. Kansas State rallied from down 20 in the third quarter against Texas, but lost in overtime. It's a return by one of the up men, and there was a hit near the 25. Let's check in with Tori. He's got something down from the Baylor sideline.
Yeah, no, I've been hanging out over here, keeping an eye on these guys while Kansas State's offense was on the field. And that entire drive, Jeff Grimes spent it with his tight ends. He was engaged in very deep conversation with them, drawing things up with those guys. So keep an eye on the tight ends this drive.
Thanks, Tori. We talked about it earlier, Barrett, but they go 5 deep in that tight end room. Really important aspect to their offense.
Absolutely, and they're the guys that are specialists. You know, they get in the slot, they line up in the wing, they line up the traditional tight end spot. They're actually do a lot in this offense.
They've got 2 tight ends there right now. Fake to Pendergrass, and Chapin goes down. Cody Stufflebean, who forced the fumble on the scoop and score, has the sack.
You know, they run play action, which is one of protection where you use to really shore things up because you have extra blockers and you keep in extra tight ends, you keep the running back in. You usually have one-on-one routes on the outside, and they were still able to get pressure. And Cody just basically goes inside and beats the tackle on the play for the sack.
Stufflebean's had a couple big weeks in a row, had a career high in tackles last week against Texas. Play action. Chapin rolling right. Tries to escape from 1. He picks up 5, but it's still a third and long way to go for Baylor.
You know, you talk about this guy here, Keenan Garber. He was a tight end last year. A wide receiver last year, fast guy. But they move in the defense, and he lacked the physicality that you want from a corner. Well, he looks like he's definitely making himself at home being a corner on the outside now.
3rd and 13. Chapin has plenty of time. Short pass over the middle is through the hands of Dawson Pendergrass, and it's a 3 and out.
Yeah, Chapin has to get himself calmed down, you know, just so the offense calmed down. He looked a little frenetic in how he set back, throwing off his back foot. Things weren't opening up for him. He's got to make sure that they can see him being calm, and then they'll get more confident. He's done it in the past. He did it in the Cincinnati game when they came back. They played well against Iowa State when he was calm. He's got to make sure he does the same.
Oh, short snap to Palmer Williams. Can't get rid of it. He's dropped inside the 5, and that's where Kansas State takes over. Nothing can go right for Baylor today.
One of the major keys on why they were able to creep back into that game last week against Texas, special teams, special teams, special teams. Bad snap, doesn't get the ball, doesn't secure it. K-State playing at a high level, making sure they're running around, playing the ball to the whistle, taking advantage of opportunities like this. To have the ball now at the 2-yard line going in for another score.
So today, Kansas State has had a scoop and score. They got 7 points from the defense, and now 2 drives later, Barrett, a short snap on a punt, never get it off, and instead, Wildcats have the ball at the +2.
Does it sound like a replay than what you saw last week in the second half versus Texas?
Yes. Play action, Howard completes it, touchdown Christian Moore, and that's the new all-time record for passing touchdowns in a career for Will Howard.
Will Howard is the leader of this team, no question. They like to use Avery Johnson, but he just goes to show his calmness, his presence in the pocket, waited till things opened up in his offense, and he was able to deliver to Christian Moore, fullback / also a tight end, on the play. Scoring from the backfield.
Chris Tennett's point after his throw. 35-7 Kansas State. Special teams troubles for Baylor. Short snap, muffed punt. Kansas State takes over on the 2. And Christian Moore's first touchdown of the season is the record breaker for Howard. 45 career touchdown passes for Will Howard, the most in Kansas State history, as he overtakes Josh Freeman, who had 44, the previous all-time career record holder. And what a career 18 in purple has had.
You know, I had the privilege of being able to watch a couple of games of him as a freshman, being in the Pennsylvania area. But, I mean, at the end of the day, you know, these guys are playing well because of him.
And Baylor has had some miscues today. A scoop and score on the second drive of the game. And then 2 drives later, Barrett, a muffed punt on a short snap that led to a touchdown of 2 yards just a play later.
You know, I love this, you know. I mean, just basically just get it to your fullback. Throw him a bone sometime. Fullbacks never get the acclaim that they need. But I'm glad they were able to give him a touchdown just then.
Richard Reese picks up just 2 yards on the opening play of the drive. What's the answer now for Dave Aranda and this Baylor team? They've given up 28 consecutive, and everything is on the side of Kansas State right now. Basically,
they've got to go from a cultural standpoint. They need culture to be developed right now, and that's a not give up culture. Even though this, you know, the deck is stacked against you, they've got to come back and at least try to. Look what Kansas State did last week. They came back and had a chance to win the game. They've got to build that same culture here, and Coach Aranda has to make sure that these guys believe in that.
Dominic Richardson gets upended and sets up a 3rd and short at the 32. Let's check in with Tori.
Guys, obviously this Kansas State sideline is feeling pretty good right now. Will Howard running down the sideline, dapping up guys. Just really energetic down here, but he walked over to his offensive line and gave them a 5 and a 0. He said 50 points. I think he wants to hang 50 on him today.
Tori, I hear you, and that's possible.
Jake Clifton is down on the ground right now for Kansas State.
Defensive player.
That 50 that Tori's talking about, though, that might be in the first half.
Right, you know, the way they're looking right now. But I know we have an injury on the field right now, and Jake Clifton, they can't afford right now to really lose anybody else in that linebacker position. You know, they lost Green. They've lost people that were, you know, probably instrumental players. You know, they're going into, you know, safeties and linebackers playing the same position because they don't have the same bodies that they had in the beginning of camp and beginning where they needed at the linebacker position. That's why these guys are a little bit undersized when they're playing the linebacker position.
And Jake Clifton, too, that's not just any ordinary linebacker. He has played all 3 of their linebacker positions and plays all 3 on an every-game basis. They ask so much out of him. And Joe Klanderman, the defensive coordinator, even said, it's really not fair what we're asking him to do, switching positions almost every play, it feels like.
And absolutely not. You know, they talk about your best 11 being on the field. Well, he wasn't a starter, but he's still considered one of their best 11. They can put him in at different places. Like you said, they play the Sam, the Jack, the Will. And he can play all of them, not just play them, though, but play at a high level. They had to keep him on the field. I'm glad he's getting up right now. But they had to find some way to get him on the field, and they put him at the Mike linebacker position because of the respect that he has on that defense.
He's being helped off the field right now. Not what you want to see if you're Chris Kleiman in Kansas State on a day that it feels like everything else has been perfect for you.
They definitely need somebody to step in, but they can't afford this right now, especially with the amount of that's still to play in this conference.
A couple 3-and-outs today for Baylor. They haven't converted on a 3rd down yet today. Handoff, Dominic Richardson. Gets a push near the line to gain. He's right at the 35, and that should be enough to move the sticks. And a late flag comes in as there is extracurriculars near midfield. Another flag as a little bit of a fight broke out.
Yeah, this isn't football here. This is not football at all.
Khalid Duke, number 29 right there, has to be held back by a handful of teammates.
You know, usually you don't get you usually get the second guy. Well, both guys kept going, kept fighting in this thing. There might be some consequences and repercussions that come from this altercation on the field.
He was getting into it with Alvin Abosale, the left tackle for Baylor.
And neither guy can afford not to be in the game right now.
The result of the play is a first down. After the play, we have fouls on both teams. Unsportsmanlike conduct, offense number 79. Unsportsmanlike conduct, defense number 29. Both players are ejected. Those fouls offset. First down.
Wow, so an already depleted and young offensive line for Baylor gets one less. Alvin Abosale is ejected, as is Khalid Duke, the defensive end for Kansas State. 79 white, 29 purple. Let's see if we can see it here after the play's over.
Yeah, you know, both guys swinging. This isn't football right here. You know, one guy tries to sling another guy. They try to sling each other, then punches start going, you know, and that's not football. That doesn't belong in the game. I understand you get heated, but now you can do nothing. You can't do anything for either one of your teammates. You're off the field. You're not helping each other.
Dawson Pendergrass, the true freshman, with a patient run as he searches across the 40 to pick up 7 yards before Desmond Purnell makes the tackle.
And that's what they need to go with. You know, Dawson Pendergrass, I like his running style. I like what he brings to the table. He's a straight ahead runner, one step cut, going downfield, going downhill.
His usage rate, Barrett, is getting higher and higher every week. They're giving him more carries every single week.
Started out just a red zone back. Now he's moved into being one of those guys they use from 20 to 20.
Fake it to him, tried to swing it out to Monterey Baldwin, the top receiver, who still doesn't have a catch today. He dropped it.
You know, this is the war of attrition. You know, that neither team can afford to have anybody out of the game, but especially Kansas State when it comes to guys doing it.
Baylor went 72 yards, scored 7 points on their opening drive today. Since then, -5 yards in their last 4 drives.
Unbelievable. Unbelievable.
They look so comfortable on that opening drive. Cruised down the field, scored a touchdown, but since then it's almost felt like they've been lost offensively. Handoff to Dominic Richardson, picks up the first down. And if you're looking for some positive, Barrett, that is 2 third-down conversions on this drive after they didn't have any at all to start the day.
So what, slow and steady wins the race. Why not run in the back of the 2 brothers? Campbell Barrington and Clark Barrington. They're their 2 strengths on that offensive line. Run behind those guys. Don't try to sugarcoat it. Just run in behind those guys. They're the elder guys on that offensive line. A lot of respect for them. Just run behind those guys. Pick up that needed yardage you need to stay on the field.
1st and 10. Richard Reese was faked to him. Instead, they got it out to the outside. And a loss of 1 for Jake Roberts. There's Jake Clifton. We saw him get injured a few plays ago. He's being walked off the field right now to the locker room.
Yeah, you know, you're looking at what Coach Grind, offense coordinator, has to do. You got to run the ball consistently, but he needs to get it to his weapons. Drake Darby, Kelsey Johnson, those tight ends on the outside can help him out in this offense also.
Reese escaped 1 tackler, picked up 2 yards. There's a 3rd and 9 coming up for the Bears.
You know, I talk a lot with the coaches, especially Coach Slanderman, the defensive coordinator, about Uso Seabalo. He shines a lot, but people don't really take notice of him. But he's a load, he's an athlete, and right then, he got in penetration, made the running back stop and start his feet, which allowed the others to come make the play in the backfield.
Such a youthful offensive line, gets even younger. 17 starts by a freshman this year. And Alvin Abosale with that ejection on the unsportsmanlike conduct means they're a man down. Shapen on 3rd and 9, steps up the middle, And he got hit low for a pickup of 5 yards to bring up 4th down. Do you leave the offense on the field here, Barrett?
This is definitely played through. This might be 4-down territory for Coach Aranda. Simply because they don't have anything else going. Why not just throw caution into the wind, stay on the field, run in behind those two Barrington brothers, and see if you can get the 1st down. Nothing else is working. Let's try this. It'll give us a little amp, give us that spark that we need to come out and be competitive in this game.
Baylor goes for it on 4th down a lot. 14 of 32 this season. 2 tight ends in there on a 4th and 4. Chapin drops it off. It's caught by Pendergrass. Leaps forward. He's right at the line to gain. They're signaling 1st down. That's a big get for Baylor to keep this drive alive.
We are talking about so many freshmen in this game, and that's who it is. Dawson Pendergrass is a freshman. Runs a little under route up across the field, catches it, and they thought he was just a runner. There he looks more like a pass catcher, going out and making a play, moving the chains for his offense.
4th straight game with at least 3 catches for the running back, Dawson Pendergrass. Now Richardson's back in there to run it, lowers the shoulder, plows down to the 37 for 5 yards before B.J. Payne makes the stop.
And this is what really helped this team, this Baylor team, against Cincinnati when they played them. They didn't throw a pass in the 1st half. 2nd half, they start running the ball consistently, and I see them doing the same thing now. Run the ball. Like I said, 3rd and short, you need those type of situations. And if you don't run the ball, you'd be hard-pressed to get those situations.
Chapin. Oh, trick play. Back to Chapin, and diagnosed perfectly by Kansas State. Brendan Mott was there for the tackle and a loss of 5.
Disciplined football. Stay at home. He plays defensive end. He gets up the field. Plays it, goes down, turns around, stays at home on the play, doesn't allow the offensive lineman to block him. He's there to make a play on the quarterback, on the throwback from the running back. Or the flanker back. That was a flanker back. That was Neighbors on the throwback to the quarterback.
13th play of the drive on a 3rd and 10. Pendergrass got drilled behind the line. Austin Moore leads the charge, 4th and 12.
They're bringing blitzes, you know. Coach Landerman is bringing blitzes. He jumps in between the block, swims them, makes the running back, Pendergrass, start and stop his feet. That's how you get a running back to really slow down. You make him start and stop his feet, have to change direction, give your guys that are pursuing enough time to get and help you make the play.
Williams the punt. Brooks is back to receive it for Kansas State, and he waves for the fair catch at the 10. 28 unanswered for Kansas State, and the Wildcats have the offense coming back out. The man outside of the statue there, Bill Snyder, the most wins by far in Kansas State history with 215 of them. The guy that this stadium behind him is named after. And we'll talk about him a lot more in depth at halftime, Barrett, but a guy that I know means a lot to you.
Absolutely. I can call him right now and I say, Coach, I need to talk, and he'll be right there for me.
Howard slings it on the slant, caught by Garrett Oakley as he ducks down to the 23 for a first down.
You know, you talk about this offense, they call it a power spread. And it's a spread offense. They run the zone read, you know, RPOs and everything. But in their running style, they run power football. They run, you know, gap, not really gap, but, you know, double teams up front, pulling guys around. A really opened up offense as far as the running game with a power spread.
Handoff. Trayshawn Ward. He's tackled by Brooks Miller after a gain of 5.
A lot of one-on-one blocking up front, which allows your best players, your senior guys, to block the man in front of them and win. That's what makes this offense a little different from most teams. Most times you just run zone reads, you just run, you know, no counters or stuff. They run counters with their offense. Counter plays, pulling backside tackles and guards, and sometimes pulling centers, instead of just running RPOs.
Here's Ward bouncing to the left. And he got out to the 33, right at the line to gain before Brendan Bett makes the stop.
You know, it's funny. When you look at this offense, it kind of highlights your offensive lineman. And here again, Hayden Gillum.
For a defensive injured player.
It's Brooks Miller after making the tackle.
When you watch this offense, you know, it kind of puts your offensive line and highlights them a little bit, shows their athleticism. And right then you had Hayden Gillum out running. He snaps it. He's able to snap the ball, kind of like a Jason Kelsey with Philadelphia, one of the most athletic centers in the league, you know, Pro Bowler, All-Pro and everything. But he's able to snap it, but still have enough athletic talent to get out on the edge and block linebackers, block safeties. And watch, you just saw that play. He did the same thing. Snapped it, got out and blocked the linebacker on this play.
Oh, and Chris Kleiman told us the same thing yesterday. He said, we'll pull tackles, we'll pull guards, we'll pull our center. Everybody's going to move on the offensive line. First and 10 for Howard. Clean pocket. Drops it off. That's caught by Keegan Johnson, angling outside for a first down before he gets shoved out by Matt Jones.
And that's just an opening up of what you're looking for. The offensive line is able to block because they run block all day. And then you get it out to Johnson out there running a little crossing route. And he's able to use his athletic talent to get open for the first down.
Handoff to Ward. Patient run, bouncing between the tackles. Picks up just 2 yards. Devin Lemire is there for the tackle.
And there's Ben Sinnott. Now he's coming from, you know, the wing position, pulls around, hits the linebacker, seals him, and then, you know, running back after that is able to run and basically get at least a 2 or 3 yard run simply because his ability to block from the wing position going across the formation.
Play action, quick throw to the outside, and it's broken up. Looking for Ben Sinnott. Devin Bobby had the coverage.
Great play by Bobby. You know, you got to bring an extra man in there. He's able to come downhill, undercut the play, make the play before Sinnott can secure it in his hands. Great play by him, because if he didn't make that play, he'd have ran past him, and Sinnott would have had a lot of yardage in front of him where it was opened up.
Matt Powledge, defensive coordinator, called Bobby the most under-the-radar guy on the defense. Howard gets dropped behind the line. The first sack today for Baylor. It's TJ Franklin.
You got to go with your veteran guys. You got to go with the guys that you say are the leaders on your team. And he's able to beat the guy in front of him. Sometimes it's just as simple as that. Beat the guy in front of you. Go make a play. Don't wait for somebody else to do it. You do it. And right then they brought the blitz, able to get penetration for the squad. I think it's maybe the first time that Kansas State is punting this game.
They had 4 touchdowns on their 4 drives today. Even scored 1 on a Baylor drive because of the scoop and score. Josh Cameron from the 15 has an open seam down the sideline. Huge return for Cameron. Breaks loose and finally twisted down inside the 20. The spark Baylor needed. 59 yards.
And he is the guy we talked about, his speed that he has, you know. Talking about guys, long strider. Reminds me a lot of the way Dorsey Levens used to run in Green Bay and when he was with the Eagles. Long strides, but they would pick him up and put him down, run past the coverage. You need a spark. We know that this guy can go out there and do it. Cameron is a special player for him, and I think Josh Cameron just opened it up a little bit, giving this Baylor team a little bit of hope that they can go now and get things going as far as the offense in the red zone against this Kansas State defense.
A 59-yard punt return that Baylor desperately needed. They take over at the +16 with 3:02 before halftime, down 28 points. Richardson with a stiff arm toward the pylon. Yanked out of bounds just shy of the goal line by Marquise Siegel.
You see a little more enthusiasm for that offensive line, you know. Watch him up front. Just zone play. Scoop, even though they got penetration, Richardson is able to run past that and go make a play.
Jumbo package in there for Baylor. First and goal from the 2. Handoff to Richardson. Gets a push from behind, but maybe got a yard.
Watch this. This is his zone left. Scoop, front side, double team to the linebacker. But on this play, Kansas State were able to get penetration to stop the run play, not allowing the running back to turn his shoulders and go downhill. Kept him going lateral instead of him going vertical.
Play action. Chapin rolling right, delivers a pass caught by Pendergrass, his second today.
Touchdown Baylor. Number 35, Johnson Simmons.
Sprint right option. Easiest play to run in the red zone, especially on goal line situations. Told you Pendergrass is a special player. Really special player. They need to use him more. He was just a red zone threat. Now he's starting to use him everywhere on the field.
A true freshman, Dawson Pendergrass, that as the season has progressed, gets more carries every week. That snapped what was 28 consecutive points scored by Kansas State. Offense stays on the field to go for 2. Chapin rolling right. Back of the end zone, incomplete. Was looking in the direction of Cam Bonner, but the 2-point try is unsuccessful.
Great play by that secondary. Able to come out on sprint right option. He's able to turn around, turn his hips. Pendergrass for the score. They needed that.
Baylor gets a much-needed touchdown to snap 28 consecutive by Kansas State. Oh, how about that? We knew that Kansas went down to Texas Tech earlier, but that's the first I'm seeing. 15th ranked Oklahoma State down 17-0. Onside kick here. Baylor might have gotten on that. They're saying they have it.
Gutsy play call by Coach Aranda. Gutsy play call.
Oh, Baylor's got it. What felt like a game that might get out of hand real early has certainly changed a little bit.
You know, we thought that going for 2 was something that, I don't know if I'd have did it, take the momentum away. No, how about this? Coach Aranda calls an onside kick, catches this Kansas State team sleeping, and they go up there and recover it for a big play. I tell you, the momentum started to change. We saw last week with Texas how the momentum changed from Texas to Kansas State and had an opportunity to win in the second half. Well, hey, they're not waiting till the second half. They're waiting right now. With a minute 42 left, they are going for it right now. So, I mean, talking about culture. They're trying to develop a culture in Baylor. This is exactly what you do. Once they see that the coach is going all out, they'll tend to start turning around and doing the same thing. Build that culture, Coach Aranda.
Onside kick recovered by Baylor. Bears still down big, but they've got a chance before half to cut into the lead. Chapin fires a strike.
New form enthusiasm on the play. Go to your weapons. Drake Dabney, one of their major weapons in their offense, one of the better tight ends in the conference.
Second and 5, 48-yard line. Pressure 43-yard line.
2nd and 5 for Chapin. Zips it to the sideline, but that's well short of Monterey Baldwin. Miscommunication between the quarterback and the receiver.
That's definitely miscommunication. But I tell you what, they're going with their base. And I think, just from watching film, their base personnel package is 12 personnel. 1 running back, 2 tight ends. And you get your best weapons out there with that. So they're going with Drake Dabney, Kelsey Johnson, those guys, Jake Roberts, even little Gavin Yates when they get into the red zone to try to open things up a little bit in the run and pass.
3rd and 5, got to have this. Chapin exits the pocket to the right, looking for somebody, slings it on the run. That was nearly picked off by Marquise Siegel.
I think on that play, I think Chapin kind of ran too early. I mean, the protection I think was there, but then he gets outside the pocket. There's nobody out there to block for him, so it was almost an interception right there for one of those safeties. K-State plays with 3 safeties, 3 deep safeties. That one of the safeties might come in the blocks to stop the run. Well, right there, you had Sigel could have made a play on an interception.
4th down. Baylor's already converted on 4th down once today. Need 5 yards. Chapin feeling some heat, fires on the run, completes it for a 1st down. Josh Cameron moves the sticks.
He's already made a big play on a punt return. There he is, keep the sticks moving. A little stop route, makes himself available to Chapin, gets it to him.
They go tempo with under a minute to go before halftime. And Chapin is sandwiched down after just 2 yards. Cody Stufflebean leads the charge for Kansas State. And a Baylor timeout called with 49 seconds to go.
Baylor calls their first charge timeout of the half. 30-second timeout.
We're in an interesting spot, Barrett, because this game was 35-7 a little bit ago. Once this year, Baylor was down 35-7 against UCF, scored 29 unanswered points, and came back to win that game.
Exactly. Kicked the field goal at the end to win the game. This is not so unlike it. You know, they've seen situations like this before. But also, we also understand that Kansas State went through the same thing just last week. So they understand that they got to, you know, bow their backs up and stop them on defense. But we have to see if this Aranda-led team will keep it going, keep this momentum going with them going into halftime. If they can score right now, this will be big for them as far as their, you know, them going out and making it happen. And Baylor gets the ball when they come out in the second half.
Yeah, if you get a touchdown here, make this game 35-20, 35-21, and you get the ball to start the second half, we're in a different game than what we thought we had just 5 minutes ago. Chapin escapes, sprinting out to the right, tries to turn the corner, zips it on the run, incomplete.
It's great coverage by this team. Will Lee goes up and makes the play. You know, Chapin gets outside, trying to make a play, but defense is there to make the play. Will Lee knocks the ball down.
41 seconds before halftime. Inside the 35 for Baylor, trying to make this interesting. And Chapin grounds it.
Pass is incomplete.
Smart play by the quarterback. Just get the ball in his hand. Don't take any more time off the clock. Nobody was open on the play. I thought they would have went to their big play guy, Monterey Baldwin, but he was covered pretty much on the outside.
Isaiah Hankins is out there to attempt the field goal. He's had a long of 54 this season. This is from 51.
The lefty.
Oh, they're going with a fake. Hankins airs it out down the sideline. It is incomplete. He had Jake Roberts. And another gutsy play call for Dave Aranda, but this one just falls short.
Jake Roberts should have made the play on there, and I understand. You've got to pull out all the stops. You're trying to get back into it. He's open on the play. Led him just a little too much. It was in his hands.
Yeah.
You got to pull it. You got to stop and pull the ball in.
Keenan Garber is there, but that's one you got to be able to catch.
Yeah, I mean, that's a hard pass to catch. I understand that because the ball crosses your face, and it's hard to go, you know, bring it in with your hands.
Kansas State has 30 seconds to try to make something happen. Phillip Brooks reels it in for his 4th catch of the first half. And a Kansas State timeout with 26 seconds to go.
Timeout. Kansas State, first timeout of the half. 30-second timeout.
Well, a week ago, Kansas State was in the opposite situation of what they're in right now. They were down 20 points at one point in the third quarter, Barrett, and rallied all the way back on the road in Austin, Texas, to get the game tied and send it to overtime. This is the field goal that sends us to overtime as time expires. Texas knocks through a field goal first to take the 3-point lead. Instead of playing conservative, Kansas goes for the win on the road. Howard slips, can't get the ball off in time, and Texas squeaks out with the win at home.
Staying aggressive, you know, and Coach Klieman was aggressive on the play, and I can't be mad at him for doing that, just like But Baylor right now is just aggressive with the play call, and sometimes the ball bounces your way. Great play by both sides, just trying to make something happen in dire straits.
Howard has all the time in the world, rips it to the sideline, and it's batted away by Caden Jenkins. Huge play by the cornerback.
Definitely a huge play, but you got to come up big in big spots. He's one of the most physical players in the secondary. His physicality, he's a big corner, but he goes up, uses his length, knock the ball out.
He has 3 interceptions in the last 5 games, does Caden Jenkins. He has been a ball hawk this year.
Young secondary playing very well this year.
Toss to Giddens, escapes from a couple tacklers, but then gets hit at the 41 by Garmin Randolph.
12 seconds on the clock. They'll go ahead and punt, go in at halftime.
Baylor has carded the second timeout of the half. 30-second timeout. Timer, please reset the game clock to 13 seconds. 13.
It wasn't just Kansas State that had a heartbreaking loss last week either. Same thing happened to Baylor, who played against Houston. They were at home in Waco. Get this touchdown. That's the go-ahead touchdown by Dawson Pendergrass. Then Houston scores, and they go for 2. Punch it in on the 2-point try and win the game 25-24, also in overtime.
All the jockeying for position here in the Big 12 Conference. The parity's out there, the war of attrition.
Jack Bloomer to punt it. This is Josh Cameron from the 13. He won't have a 59-yard punt return this time. Dropped right away.
On the tackle, number 16, Seth Porter.
I love how everything's going right now. You got a team fighting back, trying to sustain the lead. Then you also have a team out there in Baylor that wants to really make sure we're not just out of this just yet. We want to make sure that you understand we're going to fight, we're going to keep fighting, and this is going to be us from this point on.
First and 10 Baylor, 14-yard line.
Chapin takes the knee. That sends us to halftime. In a first half that became a little more interesting late, but for the most part, it has been all Kansas State in the first 30 minutes.
Yes.
And Torrey is now down on the sideline with Coach Kleiman.
Coach, Baylor staying aggressive in this one. What do you need to tell your guys about their ability to stay in this game?
Well, I know they're going to stay aggressive. They're down a few scores, and Dave's going to have those guys ready, and they came back against UCF, and so we got a long ways to go in this football game. I was pleased with the way we came out. Now we got to get that momentum back.
What did you like about what your offense did in this first half?
Will Howard, period.
That says it all, Noah.
It sure does, Torrey. Short, concise, and to the point. Will Howard is getting the job done today for Kansas State. Well, when we come back, Torrey's going to have a story on this Kansas State football program and the turnaround under Bill Snyder. It is all Cats, 25th ranked team in the country, up big on Baylor at halftime. Leviston's getting Kansas State ready for quarter number 3. They might be up 22, Barrett, but they're not giving in now.
No, they understand what's at stake right now. They see all these teams falling off. They know that they have to keep this tempo going. There's still like 3 or 4 games left in this season, and they got to set the pattern that every team that watches this film going to know that Kansas State going to play all 4 quarters.
This game was tied 7-7 after both teams' opening drives. Then Kansas State rattled off 28 consecutive. But Baylor made it interesting at the end of that first half, Barrett. They get a touchdown, recover an onside kick, and almost convert a fake punt, which could have led to a touchdown.
I love it, man. At this point, the defense has made a score. Special teams has been influential in this game. There's so many facets of football that have, played out in this game that you gotta. It's exciting. You gotta stay tuned in on what's going on.
Baylor gets the football to start the second half as well. Richard Reese with his heels on the goal line for the return. Can't escape. He got dropped behind the 15.
Picture perfect tackle on the play. Open field. Toby, you'll say his last name. I can't say his last name. You know. Osunsami. Great play by him. Squaring up, getting in front of his pads, and making the play for a great special teams tackle. Pinning him inside the 15.
Blake Shapen back out there for this Baylor offense to open up the third quarter. Piece together a couple nice drives before halftime, but they have to get something going here. Down 22 to start the half. Hand off to Richardson, rather fake it to him and throw out to the middle with Josh Cameron. Let's check in with Tori, who just talked with Dave Aranda a little bit ago.
Yeah, I did, guys, and he feels like his team is doing well when they can get them into a third and long scenario, but when they're in those third and shorts, he says he feels like K-State's offense just has a little bit too much momentum. He wants to get them into more third and longs. I asked him about those aggressive play calls. He said, we're trying to win any way we can.
Yeah, Tori, they certainly are, as that pass is incomplete, looking for Monterey Baldwin. I liked those play calls a lot. The onside kick before halftime, the fake punt, they had a couple trick plays in there. When you're down big like this, you got to do stuff to get back in the game, Barrett.
You got to throw caution into the air. You got to go out there and make some plays. Even right now, you know, trying to get out to your playmaker. Monterey Baldwin is one of those guys you can see makes big plays. He hasn't really done anything in this game, but I think they're going to look to him and press him to be an open field guy to make sure that they can open things up in this offense.
Shapen rolling left, sets his feet, zips it to the sideline. That was in the direction of Baldwin again, but way over his head.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, I'm in their heads because right now you have to go to Baldwin. Baldwin is the guy. He's the playmaker. If there's anybody that needs to step up, Monterey Baldwin can do it, and I've seen him do it in the past.
7 targets for Baldwin today, but 0 catches, Barrett. He does have 2 drops.
He's the one that said, don't wait for somebody else to step up and make a play. You make a play. So it's time for him to make a play.
3rd and 10. Shapen airs it out to the sideline. Wanted Cameron Bonner, but it's incomplete. Brings up 4th down.
Jacob Parrish played this play just as good as any DB I've seen. You know, he watched the receiver, flipped his hips, turned around, tried to locate the ball, made a big play by not allowing his guy to make a play. It's tough for Shapen because he has to throw guys open, and they're not open because these DBs are playing so tight.
Palmer Williams to punt it away. Phillip Brooks calls for the fair catch at the 23. That's where Kansas's opening drive, Kansas State. I will not mess that up. I don't want people to get on me for that. Kansas State. I said state, people. That's where their drive will start. And for Kansas State, the road to the Big 12 championship is still there, Barrett. It can't just be a win-out scenario because they have to win out, plus they need some Texas and Oklahoma State losses.
And I think that they will get that the way this conference is being dealt out. You never know. Any given Saturday, not Sunday, but any given Saturday, you know, the big dogs in the conference are falling.
And Oklahoma State's down 24 right now to UCF, so could be close to on the way to Oklahoma State losing. This is DJ Giddens. He had a great first half, bounces to the outside, picks up the 1st down, and he angles out near the 42. There is a flag thrown at the end of the play, but for now it's a gain of 19.
Yeah, it's kind of hard for those guys on the outside, those receivers, to maintain blocks like that. They're not used to blocking on the outside, blocking guys, and may have been a little holding call, a little tug out there. And it's hard to hide when you're out there in space like that.
Holding, offense, number 8, 10-yard penalty enforced from the spot of the foul, 1st down.
Yeah, Phillip Brooks, you know, he got all the great intentions in the world to go out there and make a play. But you know, if you're not, you know, well-versed out there and holding the way offensive line have held it, you know, it's really tough. But there he is right there. He wants to make the best of the play, but ends up grabbing the jersey a little bit. So because of that, they called the holding call.
That is the first penalty on Kansas State today, and it didn't come until about a minute or so into the 3rd quarter. End around. This is Keegan Johnson, the wide receiver. He can't get the stiff arm on the defender, and he gets rushed out of bounds. So how much of a chance does Kansas State to win the Big 12 championship? Well, right now, 15%, second highest behind the 57% of Texas.
Yeah, it's going to be tough for them to win it, because like we said, they're not the captain of their fate right now because they lost the game against Texas last year. If they'd have beat them, they'd have been right up there with them. Tied for first, actually.
Play action, fake the handoff to Giddens. Wide open, Jaden Jackson on the sideline. And gets pummeled out at the 35 by Devin Lemire. A gain of 40 on a wide open Jaden Jackson.
This is called the running effect. Because they've run the ball so consistently, sometimes as a defense you lose where your players are, where your offenders are, and the defense caught them not looking from where the receiver was.
That was a patient run by Giddens, who was sitting behind the offensive line for 4 yards.
So watch this. On this play, watch out the quarterback. He turns around with the illusion of the run play. They blitz on the outside. Sitting there all by himself. No one there. And that just comes from running the ball consistently and not knowing where your offensive player is.
Second and 6. Giddens gets another touch. Straight up the crease. Picks up the first down and got a second shove all the way down to the 20 for 9 yards.
Whole lot of 70 and 60s jerseys in there, pressing the pile, making sure their guy gets as many yards as he can. Look at the double team blocks up front. Getting up to the second level, driving linebackers, keep your feet moving. Don't stop. Go, if you lose your block, go get another block. That's what football is all about. That's what being an offensive lineman is all about. Getting the best of every single play.
Dave Aranda said he was worried about Kansas State's offensive line pushing Baylor's defensive line back into the linebackers, and you saw that on that play.
Absolutely.
Giddens, this time got bottled up, but he was able to make something out of nothing down to the 15. Give him 6 yards on a play that could have been no gain.
Yeah, DJ Gibbons, 6'1", 212 pounds. Get behind all that beef up front, 300 yards. Getting your hands inside, just drive blocking. Keep your feet moving, keep your feet moving. And he keeps his feet moving, gets behind his pads, and just rides that offensive line as much as he can. Now they're in 2nd and 5. And we talked about Coach Aranda saying, if we can get them in 3rd and long, well, this is not 3rd and long because they keep on driving their feet and driving the pocket.
Giddens went over 100 yards on that last run for the 3rd time this season, first time in over a month. Go back to him, stretches to the edge, and got ripped down behind the line of scrimmage for a loss of 2. Great penetration by Baylor's defense.
Great penetration, and on the play they tried to bounce it a little bit. Sometimes you got to stay in there and run, but at that time, the defensive line was able to get penetration, stalemate the offensive line, which allowed the linebacker to scrape to the outside and make a play on Giddens.
Third and 6. Swings it out to Giddens, the running back. Gives a stiff arm to a defender, and he's ripped down at the 15 for just a pickup of a yard. It's 4th down.
On this play, they scored a touchdown the last time they ran this play on the opposite side of the field. But what they do, they run a little real route with the linebacker, knowing that linebacker is more worried about him being in the inside and running inside, that he loses track of the running back running on the outside. And once you get caught up in inside all that muck in there, you're able to go out there and get a one-on-one with the running back on the outside. And it's just a simple pitch and catch with Howard to Giddens.
33-yard attempt for Chris Tennant is straight through the middle. That snaps a stretch of 11 straight red zone trips with a touchdown, but the Cats still get 3. This, Barrett, last night we were at Tall Grass Tap House waiting for our table, and the K-State Pep Band walked in and started playing.
Unbelievable. It brought back so many memories. I never experienced this because the night before a game we'd have to be in. But I mean, it was just incredible how those guys got out there, the enthusiasm they brought the fans. I mean, I felt right at home. I had goosebumps last night. I was ready to call the game last night as opposed to,
We won't even mention that our director, Lou Cussero, ghosted us and did not show up to dinner with us.
But, hey, we will say our producer set it up, number one, and then paid. I couldn't believe it, paid for it.
Yeah, shout out John Wilson. Appreciate that.
But if I'd have known that, I'd have ordered the lobster. Oh,
right.
That's right. We were, you know, what is it, the Sawhill Tap House?
Tallgrass.
Tallgrass Tap House. Tallgrass Tap House. My fault. Tallgrass Tap House. Great food. I really enjoyed it. John, I appreciate you. J-Dub, appreciate you paying for it also. That made it taste even better.
How about this, Barrett? Opening drive, 72 yards and a touchdown. Since then, in 7 drives for Chapin and company, just 53 total yards.
And we've seen Chapin really air it out when he needed to, even run it at times. They've got to get something going on with this offense.
He fakes the handoff, rolls right, and there is nobody open as he throws it away.
Pass is incomplete.
And I'm trying to figure out what's going on with that offense. And I'm going to tell you the truth what it is. Watch the discipline in which this defense plays. Coach Clanderman has this defense playing at a high level because if you look at it, guys are staying home, so when they do boot out that way, the defensive end and the linebackers are sitting out there. But if they fake the run, the linebacker responsible for the running back is out there tit for tat with them step for step if they do give them the run play. Great discipline.
Dominic Richardson sees a gap up the middle, and he's down near the line to gain. Picks up 9 yards for a 3rd and short. So what was different then on that opening drive when Baylor was cruising down the field for a touchdown?
Well, they weren't playing gap discipline at that time. They didn't get, into the gaps where they were supposed to. Just like on that play right there, sometimes the offensive line wins. And Colton Price, flatback Sayamalo on that play, which allowed them to get up there for the needed yardage to be on 3rd and 1 as opposed to being 3rd and 10.
Here's the toss. Throw it back to Chapin. A trick play. Has to get rid of it. Down the field. It's caught. Drake Dabney, the tight end. Big play for Baylor. 63 yards and a touchdown.
Talk about discipline. Talk about discipline. Drake Dabney.
They tried that play earlier. It didn't work, Barrett. They went back to it here, and it results in a 63-yard touchdown.
Great play by that offense. But when you watch the defense on this play, you see that they weren't in gap discipline. Watch, Dabney comes across. He fades across. But outside, the guys didn't stay home. And because they didn't stay home, they weren't disciplined. They were able to make the big play.
Offense stays on the field trying to cut this to 17 points. Chapin's backpedaling all the way to the 25. Zips it on the run. It's intercepted. Marquise Siegel. 2-point conversion unsuccessful.
There's discipline. He stayed where he was supposed to be. He stayed at home. They brought a cat blitz, meaning a blitz from the outside by the corner. He didn't get there fast enough. But then you also see Chapin. When the blitz is coming at you, you roll away from it. You roll to the blitz instead of away from the blitz. He was able to get out the pocket and try to find someone down the field. The at-home presence turns around, makes a play, stops the 2-point conversion. Great play by the defense and the offense.
Baylor gets 6 more on a 63-yard trick play to cut the deficit down to 19. And I'm not saying, but I'm just saying, Barrett, the last time they scored a touchdown, they came out and went with an onside kick. Any chance we see that again?
No, and Kansas State will be ready for it. They got talked to about that when they went into halftime. Kind of got reamed out for it, but they understand you got to play disciplined football. And that's how you win football games, disciplined football. And on that touchdown, we saw a little lack of discipline on the play.
Trayshawn Ward from the 8 on the return, and a nice return as he gets out across the 25. Let's break down that touchdown play, Barrett, because it was a trick play. I want to see what you were thinking on.
And then you look on the left side, you see there in a bunch, and Drake Dabney's at the bunch. He's the point at the bunch. And watch the tight end. He goes in, gets lost on the inside, and as he crosses over, when you stop it, you got Will Lee on the play. Will Lee is responsible for that flat area, but Drake gets in behind him. And when he gets in behind him, he couldn't find out where he was. He lost where he was. And when the play wasn't made by that cornerback coming over the top, he's able to go score on the play. That's lack of discipline. You know you got the flat, you got to get to your flat, but you got to see who's coming to your flat area on that play.
Howard fakes the screen, now launches down the sideline. It's pulled in by Ben Sinnott.
That's absolutely one of the hardest passes to catch right there, because when the ball, and that's a great pass by Will on the play also. Will Howard throws the ball right where he gets it, back shoulder, but when that ball crosses over, it crosses your face on the play. And he trusts that center will get the ball, but the ball crosses your face. When it crosses your face, you kind of lose it. But he's able to bring it in for the long pass play.
A false start here against Kansas State.
False start. Offense, number 10, 5-yard penalty, first down.
Those are little things. Kleiman doesn't like those, those pre-snap penalties are things you can control, and that's definitely something that he doesn't prefer.
So backs him up 5 yards, 1st and 15. Howard shuffling to the left, throws, and incomplete, looking for Keegan Johnson, who just had the false start penalty.
A little extracurricular contact before the ball gets there, but nothing was called. We're used to Kansas State coming out and establishing the run first on first down.
Yeah.
It opens up everything after that, because you have to be responsible as a defense for stopping the run first.
One of the best running offenses in the nation, more than 200 yards a game, but it's been a lot of Will Howard in the pass game today. Howard now on the option, tosses it out. Trayshawn Ward drags a couple white jerseys with him to the 36.
A little speed option right there. And you know what? Will Howard has shown a little bit more athleticism than people try to give him credit for.
Yeah.
He can run the ball with some of the best in the country. And I'm really surprised we haven't seen a little bit of Avery Johnson, the young quarterback, young freshman quarterback. When we talked to Coach Klein, they were surprised that, the progress that he showed in camp earlier.
Empty backfield here on 3rd and long. Bubble screen, batted away.
They say when you're rushing a passer, sometimes it's not all about getting and sacking the quarterback, but sometimes you get them big paws up. Talking about Bears, get them big paws up, knock it down when you don't get there. Right there, Bet just made a great play by knocking the ball down. Now it's 4th and long.
Offense staying on the field. Kind of in no man's land at the 36.
Absolutely.
Need 8 yards to keep the drive going. Howard has time, escapes out to the right, directing traffic, throws on the run, complete for a first down. It's Phillip Brooks with his game-high 5th catch to get 11 yards and moving the chains.
Talking about command, Will Howard rolls out of the pocket, getting a little pressure. They brought 6 on the play, and when they bring it out there, run a little stop route on the outside by Brooks, understands they got a plaster drill by the defense, but then he makes himself available. Will Howard, great play, great first down.
New set of downs, the handoff to Trayshawn Ward. Right up the middle, he gets 9 yards. This is such a comfortable looking offense, right? They go at such a smooth pace, and even on a play like a 4th and 8, those are not supposed to be easy to get, but Kansas State does it so effortlessly.
It's this power spread offense where they like to pull guys around, straight man-on-man blocks. You usually don't do that. You usually run zone plays, but they are very comfortable with the athleticism of their offensive line, and plus, Howard trusts his guys to make plays.
Howard rifles one to the sideline, caught by Johnson. He gets pushed out inside the 10 for another first down.
I'll tell you what, Howard will want to play this game forever because he has total command of every situation that's going on out the field. He's reading and reacting so fast. And we talked about Coach Klein saying, when you look at Howard, he was more advanced in his mind than he was his body catching up with his mind at the time. That's kind of works in opposite.
Yeah, he said that almost never happens. You usually get a guy who has a better body than a mind. Different story with Howard. As Trayshawn Ward goes plunging down inside the 5. And he told us, I asked him, when Will Howard's at his best, what does that look like? And he said, when he's not thinking so much, he's just getting the ball out of his hands, he's letting it rip, he's on target, and you've seen that all day today.
Yeah, and when you watch Howard, he understands where the ball's supposed to go. It's just his body reading, reacting, and getting it to him where his mind is already processed to get there. His footwork has gotten better. His arm strength has gotten better. He was one of those guys that they ran 3 sports. He ran 3 sports.
Ward right up the middle for a Kansas State touchdown.
That was a thing of beauty. Number one, they ran 2 inside zone plays in a row. Exact same play. Get in behind those guys. They crash down the right side. Great, look, watch on the backside. They double team, just totally collapse the backside. And it's just easy for Ward to just walk in. In fact, he could have skipped into the end zone on that play. But no, like we were saying, he's a sport athlete. Most younger guys these days don't do that.
9 plays, 73 yards, 3.5 off the clock. It's all Cats in Manhattan. Today and made things a little bit interesting. Barrett, Kansas State immediately responds with a touchdown drive of their own.
Absolutely, that's culture. That just goes with them understanding that they must, counter the counter that they get from them. Klieman knows there's a lot of football left to play. They've already qualified to be in a bowl game. They want more.
They have scored 40+ in every home game this year, and the 45 has matched their season high.
The ball was not yet made ready for play. We will replay the kick.
Wildcats being a little over-anxious, a little overzealous on this play. I tell you what, no, it's been a lot of football played on this field. Now, the field I started on was nowhere near like this with that old AstroTurf. There was a cat in the middle of the field that was like concrete. There was a track around this stadium. It was just totally different from when I played here, man. But I love the way it looks now. 50,000 as opposed to 29,000.
This is Jordan Neighbors from inside the 5 on the return. Hops away from 1, spins, and then gets driven to the ground at the 27. Well, when you're 3-6 like Baylor is, sometimes things go wrong early in games, and that happened today on a scoop and score early in the first quarter.
Yeah, and this is defense going out there making a play. They bring the blitz, 1 extra blocker. Then they turn back around, make a play on special team. Create a fumble, which eventually leads to a touchdown. Then they turn around. They onside kick. A little trickeration right here with the throwback. They get a touchdown, but it just goes to show Kansas State is doing it the old-fashioned way by playing fundamental football. Baylor's pulling out all the stops to try to go out there and try to will themselves to win this game by doing whatever they can, whether it's trick plays or whatever, to get back into this game.
Dominic Richardson gets a second push out to the 34 for 6 yards. I'm thinking back to what Dave Aranda told Torrey coming out at halftime. We're going to continue to call plays aggressively. Trick plays, fake punts, you name it, because that's what we have to do when we're in this situation. Pulling
out the stops when you have, at this point we have to say it, Kansas State has the better athletes, the better discipline. So you have to do whatever you can and at all costs, do what you have to do to gain an advantage while you're out there on the field.
Richardson gets back-to-back touches, and he's spun down at the 40 for 6 yards and a first down.
Richardson, he's explosive. This offensive line, ball rights, they're young. They got a young starting center. And he's shown a lot of progress. They got 2 veteran guards, but and then a senior and then a freshman. Well, the freshman's out now. They got a senior on the outside. You got to make sure these guys play fundamentally well, and they haven't been thus far. So you run the ball, maintain some composure.
Play action, swings it out. That's caught by Jonah Burton, his first catch today, and he ripped down by the ankles by Will Lee.
Looking at this offensive line, they have a lot to do, especially when you have a starting center, because the center calls all the plays, calls all the run plays. They have 17 guys that have started that are freshmen on the field at various points, during this game. They've played a lot of football. So you're just trying to get them to learn the game. And the only way you can do it is by taking those reps.
Quick pass, it's jumped and it's picked off. Keenan Garber, pick 6, second defensive touchdown today for the Cats.
tell you what, he lured him into that play. Great play on the outside by the corner. The former receiver makes a play on the outside. I can't believe Noah, he set him up on the play. Set him up. I mean, on the outside, he wasn't even paying attention to him. It was almost like they left, you know, they left Cameron out there by himself.
A scoop and score, a pick six. Kansas State scoring today in every way imaginable.
He baited him on this play. Look, he wasn't even worried. He's not even looking at him right now. But all of a sudden, he undercuts the play, makes a play. Cameron has been their big play threat the entire game. The speed this guy has, they wanted to make sure that they get him open on the play. That's just great play by the former receiver. You know, Garber was a former receiver and is able to undercut the play, scores a touchdown, him being aggressive, understanding that they want to try to get it out to their weapon who's shown the ability to make big plays. He undercuts it. He's running a route better than Cameron did on the play.
I'm glad you brought that up because he was a wide receiver for 4 years in this program. The Wednesday of the Big 12 championship game last year, they moved him to cornerback. And Coach was telling us when we were talking about it with him, like, seriously, on Tuesday of the Big 12 title game last year, he was a scout team wide receiver. We moved him to cornerback, and now he's a starting cornerback for us.
Speed kills, and that's exactly why they got him out there. I mean, he had to work on being more aggressive because when you're a corner, you got to play more aggressive. Well, he just showed an aggressive nature right then, beating the pass to the wide receiver, undercutting it for the touchdown. They said they want to score 50. They're at 52 right now.
The return by Neighbors. Squeezes past one, and he's tripped up across the 20. Yeah, first time Kansas State has hung 50-plus in a game since 2020 when they scored 55 against Kansas.
Coach Klein understands there's a lot of football left to play in this season. So because of that, they have to put out tape that they're going to stay aggressive to the teams they have to play coming up here next week. You know, he was kind of worried about this team, not looking at Baylor because of Baylor's 3-6 at the time, but more so they're looking towards Kansas next week, or whoever the opponent after Kansas is. But no, these guys have shown discipline, play the team that's in front of them, which is the Baylor Bears, and they're having a fantastic game right now.
Fake the toss to Reese, shape and rolls out, connects with his tight end Jake Roberts, and he's plunging out of bounds for 12 yards and a first down.
And here, you know, you watch the corner on this play. On the long touchdown, the tight end got lost in it. But watch how the cornerback stays disciplined, and he's out there to make the play. Even though he didn't make it, he got jumped over. But he was out there in the flats where he was supposed to be on the play. That's showing discipline. You just got to make the tackle.
Shaping hands off this time to Reese. Drilled at the line of scrimmage.
Mr. Duke. Caleb Duke, that's a great play by him. Beating the block and going up and making a play.
Rex Van Wy with the tackle, his first of the day. Second and 11. First time we've seen Dawson Pendergrass in a while. He has 2 touchdowns. That's his first touch in this entire half, I think.
Yeah, they had a little more 11 personnel, but taking the tight ends out. They wanted to get a little more explosive at the running back position.
Right back to him. Jumps away from 1 and got stood up at the 40. Is a flag on the play.
35, Dawson Pendergrass. There's a penalty flag on the play.
Baylor trying to play with a little speed. Just get to the line and keep running. Keep that defense out there.
Holding. Offense number 74. 10-yard penalty enforced in the previous spot. Third down.
Goes against Caden Siraki.
Another freshman playing on an offensive line. Rips across his face on the play. You know, he's trying to hold him to keep him going to make the play on Pendergrass. That's just being young and not being able to capture the inside of that defensive end that's slanting down the line.
A 3rd and 17. Chapin does have time, drops it off underneath, connects with his running back Richardson. Got back to the original line of scrimmage for 8 yards, but a 4th and long is coming up for the Bears.
They're putting in a lot of younger guys, getting them a little time to play on his defense. Javon Banks is out there.
Offense stays on the field, 4th and 9 from their own 35. Chapin facing some heat, and there was no chance. Turnover on downs on a 4th down incompletion. As Desmond Purnell had the pressure on Chapin.
Brought the blitz. They're bringing out the blitz away from the field. That means to the wider side, they are bringing that cornerback or safety from that outside. And they don't have an answer. You know, Baylor doesn't have an answer for it on the opposite side of the ball. They're not keeping enough players in to block because they're trying to get all the weapons they can on the outside.
What a day and what a career this guy has had. Will Howard, the quarterback for Kansas State, top 5 in so many categories in school history, including the passing touchdown mark that he set earlier today.
Kid from Philadelphia.
You know a thing or two about that.
Yeah, I remember in high school.
Play action, shot for Jackson. Hold it in. No, incomplete. The ref said it hit the ground.
But that's just a great touch play by Will Howard. I mean, that was a catchable ball. Just giving his player an opportunity to go out there and make a play. Bring it in, secure the catch.
Ooh.
That might be a catch.
Oh, I think that is a catch. The ball definitely was bobbled, but I think his arm was underneath it the whole time.
Yeah, if he caught it and kept it throughout the catch, though. You have to finish the catch. So you bring it down, he coops it underneath it, but then it's still moving and he's out of bounds.
It is, yep. Second down. Giddens trying to reverse field, and he got stacked up after just a yard.
Good play by the defense. But watch on the play, you got to finish the catch. He catches it, brings it in, but he actually cups it underneath his body, so it really doesn't hit the ground because he has 2 hands underneath it. But watch when he rolls over to finish the play, it was still bobbling when he hit the grass on the outside. He hit the white mark on the outside, out of bounds.
4's up in the air. We're heading to the 4th in Manhattan.
The 3rd quarter.
52-19. It has been all Kansas State. Still in the hunt for a Big 12 championship game berth, and Kansas State is playing like it today at home. And Richardson picks up just a couple yards, sets up about 4th and 5.
Yeah, right now K-State is starting to put a lot of the reserve guys in on the defensive side of the ball. So they're getting a lot more guys, getting some reps. They're going to need them later on in the season. The war of attrition will start taking over as you go forward in the season. And I think these guys at this point are getting those needed reps to see and identify what it is to play on Saturday.
A lot of the second stringers in there on defense. Can they get a stop on 4th down? Chapin, open seam in front of him, takes off with the legs, leans forward to the 30. He picks up 7 and a 1st down.
Chapin showing a little athleticism out there. You know, he got 1 more year left if he decides to stay here at Baylor. And there, you know, he diagnosed things. Nobody's open. They ran man-to-man. When they run man-to-man, there's nobody really responsible for the quarterback. So he takes off because everybody's back to turn because they are in man-to-man coverage.
Pendergrass bouncing outside, sheds one tackler, lowers the shoulder, and spins out shy of the 25. Let's check in with Tori.
Guys, Barrett was talking earlier, singing Uso Seumalo's praises as a defensive lineman, but did you know he's actually a pretty decent kicker as well? Defensive coordinator Joe Klanderman was telling us that last week in practice, the kickers bet him that he couldn't kick off from the 35. Well, he did, and he kicked it out of the end zone.
Yeah, Joe Klanderman, defensive coordinator, said if we had a punt, pass, and kick competition, I would go with Uso.
Give it to the big fella, you know.
Shaping sidearms it out of bounds, looking for his running back Richardson.
He's more than a guy who can just plug a hole. He's actually, look at him as he jogs off the field. That doesn't look like a big guy that's stumpy. That looks like an athlete out there running on his tippy toes, being able to go out there and plug holes. I tell you what, he was my favorite player when we talked about defense.
He played 8-man high school football where he was a quarterback and running back. Can you imagine a 340-pound senior in high school running at you as a running back? No, thank you.
No, thank you. I definitely wouldn't want that. I don't want any of that static, you know, over 300 pounds running like that.
Richardson gets a yard, 4th and 5 coming up for Baylor.
They have consistency. I've had Baylor games the last this year 3 times. And they do this all the time, going out on 4th down and try to execute it. They're very comfortable with it.
This is their 7th time going for it on 4th down today. 3 of 6 on the afternoon. Need 5 yards. Shapin on the slant, batted away. Turnover on downs. Will Lee got a hand in there, and the Kansas State offense takes over. Will Howard, 19 of 29, 235, 3 touchdowns through the air, 1 rushing touchdown as well. He was dominant all day, Barrett.
I mean, he did no wrong. And like I said before, I love his pocket presence. I love his awareness of what defenses are trying to do to him. Him picking out where the ball needs to go, getting out there on time. Those are all things Will Howard did to lead this team to victory. That's why they got 52 points on the field, because he has done a great job of executing offense.
12 touchdowns, 1 pick in the last 4 games for Will Howard as his day is done, and the backup Avery Johnson takes over. We told you a few times already today, he's the new all-time career record holder with 45 touchdowns, but it was just announced over the PA at the last break and getting a lot of love from his teammates.
As he should. You know, he's done a lot for this university, and has not always been a starter. He's come in and being the backup and played just as well as when he was with a starter. So many opportunities for him to get up in the transfer portal and leave, but he stayed here with this team. Great guy, class act. This kid is going to be pretty good going to that next level.
Avery Johnson skips in a pass, and not a bad guy to have as the backup in there, because this guy actually gets regular snaps throughout the course of this season. Not a true 2-quarterback system by any means. Will Howard's the guy, but they like to mix in Avery Johnson at times.
He brings a little bit more oomph, a little bit more explosiveness at the quarterback position. They got to get him going as far as passing the ball in the offense regularly with this power spread offense, but he has the ability to bring some juice to the running game.
Johnson flushed out to the right. The speed on full display as he turns the corner and throws it away. Almost intercepted.
Well, he's young. He's young, and that's what you risk with having a young quarterback out there. You know, they could go out there and make mistakes like that. Almost turned out being a mistake for a pick, but throwing it out of bounds. Will Howard did that a lot this game. Lived to fight another day, just throwing it out and going ahead with the next play.
I thought what the offensive coordinator Colin Klein told us yesterday was pretty cool, that when Avery Johnson goes in there, it actually takes some pressure off of Will Howard. A lot of times it goes the other way around, where a second-string quarterback coming in puts pressure on the starter. Not the case with Will Howard.
Well, you know, what they did do, and they did stress that he is a leader.
Cameron with a great return across midfield.
Once again, showing a little bit of explosiveness at the punt return.
All K-State today, 8:47 away from another win over Baylor.
How'd you get that mixed with your combo?
These fries and rings?
At BK, you can build your combo.
Frozen Coke too?
Yep, sides and drinks too. BK, have it your way. Yeah.
8:47 to play in the game on a day dominated by 25th ranked Kansas State, up 52-19. Baylor offense does take over in plus territory after a really nice punt return by Josh Cameron. Shapen, he's been under pressure all day. It's Colby McAllister with the sack.
You know, anytime you have so many guys around you that are so young as a quarterback, you know, they're blitzing from everywhere imaginable. You know, it's going to be hard for Shapen to go out there and make a play. You know, I know what it is to have a quarterback and just, you know, running for your life. I remember when I first started playing, I wasn't the best guy in the world. In fact, my quarterback, his name was Carl Straw. When I first got to college, here I am, 6'3", 240 pounds. I'm supposed to play left tackle. My quarterback was 6'4", 265 pounds. Now, how am I supposed to be protected for a guy bigger than me? Carl Straw was bigger than I was. And oh, by the way, he wanted to take me snipe hunting. I didn't know what the heck a snipe was. I didn't know what a snipe was. I know now. But come on now. I mean, I'm out here, it's cold, and we're hunting snipes. Come on now.
You really should have went after Coach Snyder there and tried to get it switched around. You should have been QB1. Right. Had him protecting you. Get Barrett Brooks under center.
Absolutely. So, you know, then, you know, eventually I had Chad May end up being a really good quarterback. Kid from California. You know, we grew up through the ranks together. Ended up playing pretty good my last 2 years together.
Shapen on 3rd and deep, rolling right, looking for somebody, fires across his body, and that's short for Jonah Burton.
He is definitely fighting right now, and Shapen just doesn't have, at this point, they don't have what it takes right now to be competitive with this Kansas State team. Even with the second team in there, the offensive line can't protect him. So he's running around and not having anybody to help him and trying to deliver at least a competitive ball to one of the receivers.
We've mentioned it a couple times, it's just a super young offensive line, and they're without Alvin Abasale, who had an unsportsmanlike conduct penalty, was ejected from the game in the first half, so they've been down even another guy.
Yeah. You know, like I said, the center position is such a unique position when you talk about the offensive line, because number one, they have to call the defense out, tell where the mic is, and all the protections are predicated on where the mic is on the play.
There was a flag near the line of scrimmage, actually 2 of them. And there was close to being a interference too on the returner.
Illegal shift. Offense. That 5-yard penalty will be added at the end of the kick. First down.
Final 7-11 on the other side. Kansas State's offense back out next. It's back out on the field with already a 52-19 lead over Baylor. 7-11 to play. True freshman quarterback Avery Johnson, the backup, is out there for the Cats. And this is what he does best. Use the legs, follows a block, and he gets ripped down across the 20 for 4 yards.
Yeah, you look at it, man. They got, you know, both sides are starting to put their reserves in. Defensive line and offensive lines.
Well, let's send it down to Tori. She's got more on the great career of Cooper Beebe.
Yeah, guys, he's getting a little rest late in this game, but I think NFL fans are going to start to get to know this guy pretty soon. I got to talk to Jake Clifton earlier this week about what it's like being his roommate. He said it usually means a lot of late-night Jimmy John's delivery and a lot of Madden. Cooper Beebe is a big gamer, and his game of choice is Madden. Jake says, I don't know if he's getting a head start on learning NFL defenses, but he sure plays a lot of Madden. And apparently a Miley Cyrus fan, too. He was jamming down here just a few minutes ago.
At the commercial, he was, look at that, Dancing King Cooper Beebe.
Right, I mean,
Party in the USA.
Dancing, singing, you know, he's multi-talented.
Full start against Kansas State will back him up a little bit.
False start. Offense, number 77, 5-yard penalty, 3rd down.
Well, Beebe was the Big 12 Offensive Lineman of the Year last year. He was an All-American, and he comes into this year on the watch list for the Outland Trophy. I mean, just a guy who has kind of done it all here for Kansas State.
Yeah, he said he was one of the most consistent offensive linemen. He just does a lot of stuff well. Not overpowering, but he just plays so well, technique sound, that, you know, you just have to notice how good he is as a player.
Chris Kleiman said he is without a doubt a first or second day guy at the NFL draft this year. Johnson swings it out on the wheel route, but it's incomplete. Anthony Frias didn't have his head turned around and ready for it.
Yeah, and I love this time during the game. You put your younger guys in there. And I actually flew in town, and I was actually with Andrew Langang's mom. I'm sitting next to her, and we're sitting there talking. And she brings up, my son plays for Kansas State. And I tell him, she tell me who he is. Like, yeah, he's a pretty good player, when he does get in, Well, he has an opportunity to play right now. He's out there. So, Mom, he's playing well right now, okay?
Bismarck, North Dakota, stand up. He's from Century High School in Bismarck, where I got my TV career started. And I probably called 20 of Langang's games when I was up there in Bismarck the last few years.
And we're talking about a big kid, too, like 6'5",
yeah.
So I told him, I was only 6'3". He's 6'5", going into college. I had to grow a little bit to get to his size. But very athletic, comes from a very good family. Just from talking to his mom, I could tell he's a good kid. She said, he better come pick me up. It was late, too. We got in about 11 o'clock on Thursday night. He better come pick me up, too. So, he was there to pick his mom and dad up at the airport.
Great kid, Andrew Langang. Chapin's still out there, the starter for Baylor, as he hands it to Richardson. And Colby McAllister with the stop.
With tag number 20, Colby McAllister.
I think we can pretty comfortably say Kansas State's on the way to a win today to move to 7-3, move to 5-2 in the Big 12, but still a little bit of work to do if they want to get to the Big 12 title game. They've got their biggest rival, Kansas, next week, Iowa State the week after to wrap up the season in the final two games.
Two really good teams. They're going to really, really have to focus and buckle down. Unlike what you saw right there.
Bonner drops that pass, makes it 3rd and long. So Kansas State needs some help. They can't just win out. They have to win out. Got to get Texas and Oklahoma State to lose, which, by the way, Oklahoma State's down big right now to UCF, and then you got to get Oklahoma to lose as well. So they need some help, but the way the Big 12 has been this year, it's not like that's out of the question.
Yeah, they've been going back and forth in this conference, and, guys are falling, every single week. Nobody really has the opportunity.
Cameron caught it and lost it. Kansas State jumped on it. It's the 3rd takeaway for the Wildcats today.
Rolling on the field is a catch and a fumble recovered by the defense. First down, Kansas State.
Things can go wrong. It's going to go wrong in a big way for this Baylor team.
Colby McAllister jarred it loose. Javon Banks recovered it.
Yeah, Cameron, he makes a football move, turns and gets up the field and gets the ball knocked out.
It's the first one today that Kansas State didn't score off of. A scoop and score, a pick six, and now just a regular fumble.
Just a regular fumble now.
Kansas State takes over at the plus 38. A handoff for LaJames White. Sophomore gets his first touch today. So we're talking about the path to get to the Big 12 championship for Chris Kleiman and his team. Needing Oklahoma State to lose is one of those things. Well, as we head to the 4th quarter in Orlando, UCF is all over the Cowboys, 38-3.
And this is a UCF team that lost to Baylor earlier in the season.
Yeah.
So like I say, anything can happen any given Saturday. You never know.
Quick route over the middle, that is reeled in. Garrett Oakley with the catch, moves the chains.
So it shows a lot of parity in this conference, especially in the middle of the pack. There's not much difference between the middle of the pack and the guys, say with the top of the pack with the Oklahomas, the Texas teams at this point.
We have seen some crazy games in the Big 12 this year. You mentioned that UCF-Baylor game. UCF was up 28. Baylor scored 29 unanswered in the second half to win that game by 1. And that was one of just many we've had in the league this year.
That's why Coach Kleiman.
Johnson completes it. This is Oakley searching for the end zone, and a Kansas State touchdown again. A rout for Kansas State today.
Another freshman, Noah, another freshman makes a big play in this game.
Second touchdown in the career for Garrett Oakley, the freshman from Columbus, Nebraska. A 40-point lead for Kansas State.
It's exactly what you wanted from this Kansas State team. Rebounding from a Texas team, allowing them to go out on the tight end, making a play. Kansas State scores up by 40 in the fourth quarter.
Manhattan, Kansas on this Saturday afternoon, and a day dominated by the Wildcats. 59-19, a 40-point lead for the Cats. Final 3:30 here from Bill Snyder Family Stadium. Jordan Neighbors on the return from just outside the goal line. Hops away from one, swipes past another, reversing field, and tackled from behind at the 23.
The expectation now is for Coach Aranda's team not to give up, keep fighting, making sure that they have that never give up type of attitude going in, because what you put on tape now, the teams are going to look at. You don't want to be labeled as that team that just gave up. And that's exactly what Coach Aranda's trying to get his team to understand.
Talked this week about trying to build that culture. He said it's not in place yet. It hasn't been instilled, but we are trying daily, weekly to build that toughness around our program. Richardson, productive run on first down, gets 4 yards.
But you see the exact opposite with Kansas State. They have their culture. Coach Kleiman has instilled in these guys. You can't look past to Kansas. You have to take care of the team that's in front of you, and that's the Baylor Bears, and they went out and take care of business.
And he told us yesterday it took us a little bit of time to get that culture in place, but over the past year or so, we felt it's had a really good foundation.
You know, look at Coach Klanderman. He's still bringing blitzes. He's still making sure these defensive guys, these young guys that are in there right now, are still playing aggressive, still being assignment correct, understanding fundamental football, still running out there and trying to, you know, knock people's heads off.
It says Kelsey Johnson, the tight end, with his first catch, moves the sticks. Yeah, they don't give in, right? Up 40, 2.5 minutes to go. It'd be easy to kind of pack it in, right? But that's not the case with Coach Klanderman. His guys are continuing to play hard on the defensive side of the ball.
Still firing, still having cat blitzes, still running X stunts with the linebackers in the line of scrimmage. You know, because he has to know who he can trust and who he can't trust in tight games and even games like this, you know. See what's going on.
Chapin airs it to the sideline, batted away. They were looking for Josh Cameron, and it was Justice James with the coverage.
Yeah, let's see a little swagger out there. You know, you want to get some game time experience, you want to play, make plays right now. I wasn't automatically a starter when I got to college. When I first got to Kansas State, I had to work my way up. I redshirted, turn around. I didn't start my first year, my redshirt, you know, freshman year. I had to earn the right to start. And that's what these kids are doing right now during the time when they've already won, but being able to go out there and play consistently so the coach can trust you when he puts you on the field.
Another drop for a Baylor wide receiver. This one's Josh Cameron.
That's 2 in a row.
There's just been a lot of plays today where Chapin has put it on his guys and they just haven't caught the ball.
Absolutely. And, you know, when they go back and watch this film, shoulda, coulda, woulda is going to be coming out of their mouths. You know, and you know, look, Cameron, he was going off the sideline, not really pleased with himself. You know, had a dynamic middle of the game, but fell off during the time when they needed him in the fourth quarter.
Had a nice 69-yard punt return earlier in this game. Hand off to Dawson Pendergrass. He gets a push from behind down to the 43. So this loss is going to knock Baylor from being bowl eligible. They're going to drop to 3-7, even with a couple wins to round out the season. They'd go to 5-7. So I'm wondering, going into next year for Dave Aranda and this Baylor program, what's next?
Well, I'm going to tell you the truth. This hurts them not only because, you know, the losing record, but it also hurts them in recruiting. It hurts them in keeping guys from going into the portal. It hurts them in really trying to establish a winning culture in their locker room. You go out there and you fight. But to lose by 40 at this point is really going to be hard to tell guys, hey, we got to keep on fighting, and then really believe in what you're trying to do in building that culture. It's going to be tough.
A Baylor timeout with 1:15 to go
Baylor
before the fourth
first
down.
Timeout of the half. 30-second timeout.
So we know Baylor will not be bowl eligible. We know Kansas State already is. There are 6 teams, Barrett, in the Big 12 already bowl eligible. 3 more teams just 1 win away. 3 teams are 2 wins away. There can be a lot of teams playing in bowl games in December and January in the Big 12.
Trying to jockey for position at Iowa State team. I saw them against Baylor, beat Baylor. BYU, one of the new guys into the conference, you know, they have an ability to go in and be bowl eligible. Texas Tech, huge win. So, you know, a lot of parity going on in this conference, but when you look at the top teams, there's not much separating them. In fact, if you take the amount that these teams have lost by and the losses that they have, it's not really a lot. You know, I would dare to say a lot of them are under 10 points with all these teams, just going to show how equal they are and how they're playing.
4th and 4. Shape and rolling left, completes it. That's Jake Roberts down the sideline. Moves the chains, keeps the drive alive.
And we thought, you know, in order for them to have some success against this Kansas State team, the tight ends, Drake Dabney, Kelsey Johnson, Jake Roberts, all had to be instrumental in how this offense was going to be run, whether it's run blocking or being receivers. And they just haven't been able to be that much of a focal point in this offense.
Chapin uncorks it down the sideline. Incomplete, but a flag was thrown by one of the officials way behind the play.
Yeah, I don't know what that flag is.
Holding, defense, number 0. 10-yard penalty enforced from the previous spot. First down.
So Jordan Wright, the safety, gets called for defensive holding. Hey, I want to go back to your point about a lot of the one-score losses. Think about Kansas State, for example, who's about to be 7-3. All 3 of the losses for Chris Kleiman and company have come by 8 points or less this year. So even the teams in the Big 12 that are having a lot of success this year are losing really close games.
Very close games.
Chapin, quick toss. Connects with Cam Bonner. He's inside the 20 to bring up 2nd and short.
Quick pass on the tunnel screen, you know, able to go out and make some yards. Keeping the chains moving. 49 seconds left. Got to go out there and show, at least score, you know, at least show you're still fighting. You know, and anytime, you're out here like this, you got to make sure you have something that you can hang your hat on.
Chapin looking Bonner's way again. There's a flag. It'll be on Jordan Wright again.
Was the push-off or the pull-off? One of the two.
Pass interference, defense, number 0. The ball will be placed at the spot of the foul. Automatic first down.
Having a rough series right now.
And knowing Chris Kleiman the little bit we do, in a game he's up 40, he's still going to be a little frustrated with those penalties at the end of the game.
He absolutely will. He's going to go in and tell him, hey, what are you doing, man? Come on now, what are you doing? You know, I need to be able to trust you in big-time situations. I can't when, you know, it's got to mean something to you.
So Baylor's got a chance for a touchdown. That's through the hands of Armani Winfield, and then it went through the hands of another guy in Josh Cameron.
And tell you what, you know, and right then, you must understand that things have to go right, but when they're going as wrong as they are right now for this Baylor team, when it rains, it pours.
Yeah.
You know, how does he go back as, you know, Coach Miranda, go back from and coach his guys through this? It's going to be tough next week. They got TCU.
Chapin looking this sideline, incomplete. Wright had the coverage, and there is no penalty this time.
For once. and he's still out there talking stuff. You know, still gesturing. And it could have been called there also. Look,
it really could have.
Pulling, tugging, and everything. I understand wanting to be aggressive, but also understand, you know, you got to be able to trust that you can make a play.
Chapin rolling right, slings it on the run in the end zone. Let's see, no signal now, they say incomplete. When it rains, it pours indeed. Monterey Baldwin, the leading receiver on 9 targets, now has no catches.
Ruling on the field is an incomplete pass, 4th down.
And no, when we went into this game, we knew that Monterey Baldwin had to be a major factor in this game. He's been a major factor in their wins, and most of the games he's been in the second half of this season. What are the chances we would have a guy with 8 attempts with no catches?
The ruling on the field of an incomplete pass is under further review.
We're going to take a look at it. Why not? 20 seconds to go, 40-point game. We're going to see if it's a touchdown or not.
And knowing us, it probably will be a touchdown. In fact, I thought he dragged that back foot.
Yeah.
And before he put the other foot down, and he secured the catch. So it might be a catch. So watch this play. Catches it, secures it, got foot in. No, he got 2 foot in.
Oh, that's good on Sundays.
Yeah, he's got 2 feet in, yes. And, you know, he had no hitter going, and the first catch he catches is a touchdown.
Yeah, I got to think this should be reversed unless there's something we're just not seeing here. But right foot is still in bounds when he catches it. Left foot drags in. You can see the turf pellets flying up.
Absolutely. Great pass, a great throw. And then go along with the great catch.
Ruling on the field was incomplete, so of course you got to have indisputable evidence, but I think we might get that.
After further review, the result of the play is a touchdown.
There you go, call reversed. Monterey Baldwin's first catch today goes for a touchdown with 20 seconds to play.
And this goes to show, you know, we were having one heck of a call here. You know, thought we did pretty good at explaining the game, you know, highlighting what we needed to highlight. And then at the end of the game, I say Monterey Baldwin's supposed to be a crucial factor. Hasn't had a catch today, and what happens? The first and only catch he has is a touchdown.
Hey, at that time he didn't, all right? Got overturned. You're still right. You're right in my book.
All right.
Isaiah Hankins' point after is missed to the right. It's been that kind of day and that kind of season for Baylor.
Yes, yes. What do you do, man? What do you do? That Baylor locker room is going to be pretty quiet. I mean, I don't know how you adjust to it. We know that Coach Aranda is not one of those rah-rah guys that's going to, you know, cuss everybody out and, you know, be on everybody, you know. So how do you approach it from the way in which he, you know, his philosophy is to teach guys and, you know, and go forward and try to get some positiveness out of it? You know, you need to make sure fundamental football is being played, and there's not a lot of fundamentalness in the way in which they approach this game on the field.
They started this game with a touchdown drive on offense where they cruised down the field, and you thought, hey, we might be in for a game today, and then kind of just fell apart from there.
The execution was great on that first drive. They were hitting tight ends. You know, we said it was going to be a major tight end game for them. They were hitting the tight ends, big, long plays. Offensive line was blocking consistently. But then all of a sudden, things just started unraveling for the offense. You know, they were running the ball consistently also, something that they hadn't been able to do earlier on. Well, they did it in the first quarter. Then after that, it just went downhill.
2 defensive touchdowns for Kansas State today. A scoop and score in the first half, a pick 6 in the second half. This is Phillip Brooks. He juggled it. Takes a knee inside the 5. It kind of felt like that scoop and score, even though at that time only made it 21-7, Barrett, that was the turning point where it felt like things just fell apart for Baylor and everything was going to go Kansas State's way.
Yeah, it just felt like, they took the wind out of their sails, things like, all right, here we go again. The demeanor on the sideline certainly changed, just from a visual standpoint of me looking from the press box, looking down at that team. I made you aware earlier, before the teams even took the field, I saw how the defense and the offense were on the sideline and they were hyped and they were running around. You saw emotion, you saw energy. But then after that scoop and score, things just started just going downhill for this Baylor team.
Jake Rubley, the 3rd string quarterback, is in there for Kansas State. Hands it off. This is White. And with not much breathing room, he gives Kansas State a lot on the final play of the game. 7th straight home win for Kansas State, putting up 59 points, the most since 2016 for the Wildcats. And man, Barrett, is Chris Kleiman's team looking good down the stretch.
Definitely looking impressive. Although they don't have any control over anybody else losing, they're definitely going to do their part and try to win every single game from this point on.
A 59-25 win for Baylor. The defense for Kansas State, rather. The defense forces 4 Baylor turnovers, turn them into 2 defensive touchdowns. Will Howard becomes the all-time passing touchdown leader in Kansas State history. A big thank you to our producer, John Wilson, our director, Lou Cussero, and the rest of our phenomenal ESPN Plus crew today. For Barrett Brooks, I'm Noah Reed saying good night from Manhattan. Kansas State dominates Baylor 59-25.